Hi, everybody! Hope we're doing well. It's fucking Storytime Saturday. Do you know how psyched I am? This is what I've been waiting for. Oh, like, I stream, I, I show up every day. Not every day, because I do have some days off, but most days. 5 days a week. Hi, how are you? But 5 days a week, I show up, and I'm like, this isn't story time. What am I here for? What does it fucking matter? It doesn't. Because it's not. It ends with us. And I'm so glad we're here. We're finally here. It's finally Saturday. Um, I'm pretty good. Um, psyched for the Ellen Diaries. I mean, what can I fucking say? I mean, in fact, let me take these off. I don't ever need them. To be fair, was listening to Broke by Jason Derulo, so very important. But other than that, I don't need them on. I don't know why I put them on for reading streams. It's always very funny when I do. But anyway, let's jump right the fuck in. I added buttons. I added a reading button. Very excited for the reading button. Okay. Chapter 11. I curl up in my bed and stare at it. I'm almost Ugh, oh my god. Okay, while you read, I need something to do. Okay, what's up? Thank you. Very important. Um, do you are you looking for suggestions or like what's that? Cuz I don't know. Am I looking up? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, is there any spring events? I never see the spring events in Animal Jam ever. So, we could play tomorrow together. Hopefully I remember my There is. Oh, okay, then I kind of want to play then. Okay, we could play tomorrow. Cuz I got done with stuff pretty quickly last Sunday. And I feel like I might this time around as well. I'm not sure. Boo. Boo, but fair. Me too, if you think about it. Realistically, I could take a late grade if I did some. All right. Let me. Okay. Homework. I need to do homework tomorrow too. Like one thing in our history was due on Thursday. I don't need to give up hope. Your story, Colleen's story. I would never think to claim such a masterpiece as my own. I could never. I could. I could never make something such as this. Um. Anyway, okay. I curl up in my bed and stare at it. I'm almost finished with it. There aren't very many more entries. I pick all credit to the author. Yes, all credit to the author. I pick up the journal and place it on the pillow beside me. I'm not going to read you, I whisper. Although, if I read what's left, I'll be finished. Having seen Atlas tonight and knowing he has a girlfriend and a job, and more than likely a home, is enough closure I need on that chapter. And if I just finish the damn journal, I can put it back in the shoebox and never have to open it again. I finally pick it up and roll onto my back. Ellen DeGeneres, you are such a bitch. This isn't Ellen's fault. Not that I care about Ellen at all. Dear Ellen, just keep swimming. Recognize that quote, Ellen? It's what Dory says to Marlin in Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. I'm not a huge fan of cartoons, but I'll give you props for that one. I like cartoons that can make you laugh, but also make you feel something. After today, I think that's my favorite cartoon, because I've been feeling like I'm like drowning lately, and sometimes people need a reminder that they just need to keep swimming. Atlas got sick. Like, really sick. He's been crawling through my window and sleeping on the floor for a few nights in a row now, but last night I knew something was wrong as soon as I looked at him. It was a Sunday, so I hadn't seen him since the night before, but he looked awful. His eyes were bloodshot, his skin was pale, and even though it was cold, his hair was sweaty. I didn't even ask if he was feeling okay, I already knew he wasn't. I put my hand on his forehead, and he was so hot I almost yelled for my mother. He's. God, I hate the diary edges. And it's such a treat that we get more of them, you know? Oop, I forgot. I'm going to prep my cringes. I like to have it copy pasted. There we go. But the fact that we read two cringeworthy things with diary entries as a very critical part of the puzzle, very funny to me. The fact that diary entries are inherently cringe, I love it. Let's start putting them in more things to make them worse. It's great. Perfect, really. He said, "I'll be fine, Lily." And then he started to make his pallet on the floor. I told him to wait there and I went to the kitchen and poured him a glass of water. I found some medicine in the cabinet. It was flu medicine and I wasn't even sure if that was what was wrong with him, but I made him take some anyway. He laid there on the floor, curled up into a ball, when about a half an hour later he said, "Lily, I think I'm going to need a trash can." I jumped up and grabbed the trash can from under my desk and knelt down in front of him. As soon as I set it down, he hunched over it and started throwing up. God, I felt bad for him. Being so sick and not having a bathroom or a bed or a house or a mother. All he had was me, and I didn't even know what to do for him. When he was finished, I made him drink some water and then I told him to get on the bed. He refused, but I wasn't having it. I put the trash can on the floor next to the bed and made him move to the bed. He was so hot and shaking so bad I was just scared to leave him on the floor. I laid down next to him, and every hour for the next 6 hours he continued getting sick. I kept having to take the trash can to the bathroom to empty it out. I'm not gonna lie, it was gross. The grossest night I've ever had, but what else could I do? He needed me to help him, and I was all he had. When it came time for him to leave my room this morning, I told him to go back to his house and I'd be over to check on him before school. I'm surprised he even had the energy to crawl out of my window. I left the trash can next to my bed and waited for my mom to come wake me up. When she did, she saw the trash can and immediately held her hand to my forehead. "Lily, are you okay?" I groaned and shook my head. "No, I was up all night sick. I think it's over now, but I haven't slept." She picked up the trash can and told me to stay in bed, that she'd call the school and let them know I wasn't coming. After she left for work, I went and got Atlas and told him he could stay with me at the house all day. He was still getting sick, so I let him use my room to sleep. I'd check on him every half hour or so, and finally around lunch he stopped throwing up. He went and took a shower, and then I made him some soup. He was too tired to even eat it. I got a blanket and we both sat down on the couch and covered up together. I don't know when I started feeling comfortable enough to snuggle up to him, but it just felt right. A few minutes later, he leaned over a little and pressed his lips against my collarbone. Ugh. While you're sick, get your ass off of me, bro. What the fuck are you thinking? Ugh. I don't know when I was feeling comfortable enough to snuggle up to him, but it just felt right. A few minutes later, he leaned over a little and pressed his lips against my collarbone. Yeah, ew. Ugh. Right between my shoulder and my neck. It was a quick kiss, and I don't think he meant for it to be romantic. It was more like a thank you gesture, without using actual words. But it made me feel all kinds of things. It's been a few hours, and I keep touching that spot with my fingers because I can still feel it. I know it was probably the worst day of his life, Ellen, but it was one of my favorites. I feel really bad about that. We watched Finding Nemo, and when that part where Marlin was looking for Nemo and he was feeling really defeated, Dory said to him, "When life gets you down, you know what you've got to do? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming." Atlas grabbed my hand when Dory said that. He didn't hold it like a boyfriend holds a girlfriend's hand. He squeezed it like he was saying that was us. He was Marlin and I was Dory, and I was helping him swim. "Just keep swimming," I whispered to him. Lily. Dear Ellen, I'm scared. So scared. I like him a lot. He's all I think about when we're together, and I feel worried sick about him when we're not. My life is beginning to revolve around him, and that's not good, I know. But I can't help it, and I know what to do about it, and now he might leave. He left after we finished watching Finding Nemo yesterday, and then when my parents went to bed, he crawled in my window last night. He had slept in my bed the night before because he was sick, and I know I shouldn't have done it, but I put his blankets in the washing machine right before I went to bed. He asked where his pallet was, and I told him he'd have have to sleep on the bed again because I wanted to wash his blankets and make sure they were clean so he wouldn't get sick again. For a minute, it looked like he was going to go back out the window, but then he shut it and took off his shoes and crawled into bed with me. He wasn't sick anymore, but when he laid down, I thought maybe I had gotten sick because my stomach felt queasy. But I wasn't sick. I just always feel queasy when he's that close to me. I see him just goes, yeah, Alice got sick, like super disgustingly sick, and then kissed her collarbone. It was it was bad. It was kind of gross, yes. Luckily, wasn't on the lips. If it was on the lips, I probably would have kicked up a bigger fuss. But kissing me at all while you're sick is pretty nasty. So jot that down. But anyway, um, we were facing each other on the bed when he said, "When do you turn 16?" Uh, don't fucking ask me that. This is the Ellen Diaries section, yes. So you've only missed one, and it was when he got sick, and he got sick, and he stayed with her for quite a bit. You mean 18, right? I don't think so. You mean 18? I don't think he does. Um, Alice, you can't just ask that. Ew. Okay. 2 more months, I whispered. We just kept staring at each other, and my heart was beating faster and faster. When do you turn 19? I asked, just trying to make conversation so he couldn't hear how hard I was breathing. Not until October, he said. I nodded. I wondered why he was curious about my age. And it made me wonder what he thought about 15-year-olds. Did he look at me like I was just a little kid? Like a little sister? I was almost 16. So true. I was almost 16, and 2.5 years apart in age isn't that bad. Maybe when two people are 15 and 18, it might seem a little too far apart, but once I turned 16, I bet no one would even think twice about a 2.5 year age difference. No, girl. That's not true. I need to tell you something, he said. I held my breath, not knowing what he was going to say. I got in touch with my uncle today. My mom and I used to live with him in Boston. He told me once he gets back from his work trip, I can stay with him. I should have been happy for him in that moment. I should have smiled and told him congratulations, but I felt all the immaturity of my age when I closed my eyes and felt sorry for myself. Girl, it's it's been pretty critical for us so far. Are you going? I asked. He shrugged. I don't know. I wanted to talk to you about it first. An opportunity to stop being homeless and you want to talk to some girl about it? Okay, sure. He was so close to me on the bed, I could feel the warmth of his breath. I also noticed that he smelled like mint, and it made me wonder if he uses bottled water to brush his teeth before he comes over here. I always send him home every day with lots of water. I brought my hand up to the pillow and started pulling a feather sticking out of it. When I got it all the way out, I twisted it between my fingers. I don't know what to say, Alice. I'm happy you have a place to stay, but what about school? I could finish down there, he said. I nodded. It sounded like he already made up his mind. When are you leaving? I wondered how far away Boston was. It's probably a few hours, but that's a whole world away when you don't own a car. I don't know for sure that I am. I dropped the feather back onto the pillow and brought my hand to my side. What's stopping you? Your uncle is offering you a place to stay. That's good, right? He tightened his lips together and nodded. Then he picked up the feather I'd been playing with and started twisting it between his fingers. He laid it back down on the pillow, and then he did something I wasn't expecting. He moved his fingers to my lips, and he touched them. God, Ellen, I thought I was gonna die right then and there. It was the most I'd ever felt inside my body at one time. He kept his fingers there for a few seconds, and he said, "Thank you, Lily, for everything." He moved his fingers up and through my hair, and then he leaned forward and planted a kiss on my forehead. I was breathing so hard I had to open my mouth to catch more air. I could see his chest moving just as hard as mine was. He looked down at me, and I watched as his eyes went right to my mouth. Blech. Have you ever been kissed, Lily? I shook my head and tilted my face up to his because I needed him to change that right then or and there, or I wasn't going to be able to breathe. Why'd she write it like this? I don't know. It's very weird. It's not good. Not very good. Not loving it. Then, almost as if I were made of eggshells, he lowered his mouth to mine and just rested it there. I didn't know what to do next, but I didn't care. I didn't care if we just stayed like that all night and never even moved our mouths. It was everything. His lips closed over mine, and I could kind of feel his hand shaking. I did what he was doing and started to move my lips like he was. I felt the tip of. Ugh. I felt the his tongue brushed across my lips, and I thought my eyes were about to roll back in my head. Ugh. Oh, God. uh, he did it again and then a third time, so I finally did it too. When our tongues touched for the first time, bro, ugh, I kind of smiled a little because I thought about my first kiss a lot, where it would be and who it would be with. Never in a million years did I imagine it would be like feel like this. He pushed me on my back and pressed his hand against my cheek and kept kissing me. It just got better and better as I grew more comfortable. My favorite moment was when he pulled back for a second and looked down at me, and then came back even harder. I don't know how long we kissed. A long time. So long my mouth started to hurt, my eyes couldn't stay open. When we fell asleep, I'm pretty sure his mouth was still touching mine. We didn't talk about Boston again. I still don't know if he's leaving. Dear Ellen, I need to apologize to you. It's been weeks since I've written to you, and a week since I've watched your show. Don't worry, I still record it so you'll get the ratings, but every day we get off the bus, Atlas takes a quick shower, and then we make out. That's some teenager shit for sure. Every day. It's awesome. I don't know what it is about him, but I feel so comfortable with him. He's so sweet and thoughtful. He never does anything I don't feel comfortable with, but so far he hasn't tried anything I don't feel comfortable with. I'm not sure how much I should divulge here. I think she needs to apologize. That's right. I agree. I don't think I should have a. I'm not sure how much I should divulge here, since you and I have never met in person. But let me just say that if he's ever wondered what my boobs feel like, now he knows. Oh, yeah. I can't for the life of me figure out how people function from day to day when they like someone this much. If it were up to me, we would kiss all day and all night and do nothing in between except maybe talk a little. He tells funny stories. I love it when he's in a talkative mood because it doesn't happen very often. Please don't divulge. We do not. No, we do not need to know. But he uses his hands a lot. He smiles a lot too, and I love his smile even more than I love his kiss. And sometimes I just tell him to shut up and stop smiling or kissing or talking so I can stare at him. I like looking at his eyes. They're so blue, and he could be standing across a room and a person could tell how blue his eyes were. The only thing I don't like about kissing him sometimes is when he closes his eyes. And no, we still haven't talked about Boston. Dear Ellen, yesterday afternoon when we were riding the bus, Atlas kissed me. It wasn't anything new to us because we had kissed a lot by this point, but it's the first time he ever did it in public. When we're together, everything else seems to just fade away, so I don't think he even thought about other people noticing. But Katie noticed. She was sitting in the seat behind us and I heard her say, "Gross," as soon as he leaned over and kissed me. She was talking to the girl next to her when he said, "I can't believe Lily lets him touch her. He wears the same clothes almost every day." Ellen, I was so mad. Loses his eyes, where they go. Dude, I know. Like, what does that mean? Like, or okay, she said closing, but all the same, you're supposed to close your eyes when you kiss. Otherwise, it's kind of weird. Ugh, like, I can't imagine an open-eyed kiss that's pleasant and good. Please be normal. Um, Ellen, I was so mad. I also felt awful for Atlas. He pulled away from me, and I could tell what she said bothered him. I started to turn around to yell at her for judging someone she doesn't even know, but he grabbed my hand and shook his head no. "Don't, Lily," he said. So I didn't. But for the rest of the ride, I was so angry. I was angry that Katie would say something so ignorant just to hurt someone she thought was beneath her. I was also hurt that Atlas appeared to be used to comments like that. I didn't want him to think I was embarrassed that anyone saw him kiss me. I know Atlas better than any of them do, and I know what a good person he is, no matter what his clothes look like or what he used to smell like before he started using my shower. I leaned over and kissed him on the cheek and then rested my head on his shoulder. "You know what?" I said to him. He slid his fingers through mine and squeezed my hand. "What?" "You're my favorite person." I felt him laugh a little and it made me smile. "Out of how many people?" he asked. "All of them." He kissed the top of my head and said, "You're my favorite person too, Lily, by a long shot." When the bus came to a stop on my street, he didn't let go of my hand when we started to walk off. He was in front of me in the aisle, and I was walking behind him, so he didn't see it when I turned around and flipped off Katie. I probably shouldn't have done. Happy Ratterday? Well, thank you, Trilla. I appreciate that. Happy Storytime Day to you as well. Glad you were able to come back and catch the part of the book before she loses her virginity. Because we're coming up on it pretty quick here. Anyway, how are you? Because rats are cool. So true. Rats are cool. But anyway, how are you, Trilla? Hope you're doing well. I probably shouldn't have done it, but the look on her face made it worth it. When we got to my house, he took the house key out of my hand and unlocked my front door. It was weird seeing how comfortable he is at my house now. He walked in and locked the door behind us. That's when we noticed the electricity in the house wasn't working. I looked out the window and saw a utility truck down the street working on power lines, which so that meant we couldn't watch your show. I wasn't too upset because it meant we would probably just make out for an hour and a half. Does your oven run off gas or electricity? He asked. Gas, I said, a little confused that he was asking about our oven. He kicked off his shoes, which were really just a pair of my father's old shoes, and he started walking toward the kitchen. I'm going to make you something, he said. You know how to cook? He opened the refrigerator and started moving things around. Yep, I probably love to cook as much as you love to grow things. He took a few things out of the refrigerator and preheated the oven. I leaned against the counter and watched him. He wasn't even looking at a recipe. He was just pouring things into bowls and mixing them without even using a measuring cup. I only want to tear my skin off a small amount today, so it's a good day. Oh, well, that's good. I'm doing okay. Um, we went to a we went to a St. Patrick's Day parade today. So, um it was like downtown in the city or whatever. It was pretty there's this guy, it's every year or whatever, right? And there's this guy that dresses up as Saint Patrick. Like you get to like it's a big deal, like whoever gets to dress up as him or whatever. It's kind of funny. Everything was green and it was super corny and stupid and it was fun. Okay, where was I? Hmm. I'd never seen my father lift a finger in the kitchen. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't even know how to preheat our oven. I kind of thought most men were like that, but watching Alice work his way around my kitchen proved me wrong. What are you making? I asked him. I pushed my hands on the island and hoisted myself onto it. Hell yeah. Love to. Hate snakes. Huh? Where'd the snakes come in? St. Patrick's Day is so funny. Cause I realized that it was supposed to be like a snake. I don't know anything about it. So, Joe the Snakes out of Ireland. Oh, okay. Like his entire thing, dude. Unfortunately, in America, St. Patrick's Day, straight up drinking. That's what it is to us. And I guess the parade thing. That's what I participate in because I don't drink or whatever. But yeah, it's like the color green and drinking, and that's it. Same for us. Oh, okay. Cool. Glad it's consistent then. But yeah, I didn't know the story about it. I I watched VeggieTales as a kid, so I learned a little bit about like the religious element of it, I think. But that's all I know. Is the religious element of it. I didn't know that the snakes thing. That's interesting. I'm gonna Google that later. Anyway, yeah, so much to learn. Anyway, cookies, he said. He walked the bowl over to me and stuck in a spoon in the mixture. He brought the spoon up to my mouth and I tasted it. One of my weaknesses is cookie dough, and this was the best I'd ever tasted. Oh wow, I said, licking my lips. He set the bowl down beside me and then leaned in and kissed me. Cookie dough and Atlas's mouth mixed together. Ugh, don't be gross. Is like heaven. In case you're wondering, I wasn't. I actually wasn't, but thank you for letting me know. I made a noise deep in my throat that let him know how much I liked the combination, and it made him laugh. But he didn't stop kissing me. He just laughed through the kiss, and it completely melted my heart. A happy Atlas was near mind blowing. It made me want to uncover every single thing about this world that he likes and give it all to him. When he was kissing me, I wondered if I loved him. I've never had a boyfriend before and have nothing to compare my feelings to. In fact, I've never really wanted a boyfriend or a relationship until Atlas. I'm not growing up in a household with a great example of how a man should treat someone he loves, so I've always held on to an unhealthy amount of distrust when it comes to relationships and other people. There have been times I've wondered if I could ever allow myself to trust a guy. For the most part, I hate men because the only example I have is my father, but spending all this time with Atlas is changing me. Not in a huge way, I don't think. I still distrust most people, but Atlas is changing me enough to believe that maybe he's an exception to the norm. He stopped kissing me and picked up the bowl again. He walked it over to the opposite counter and started spooning dough onto two cookie sheets. You want to know the trick to cooking with a gas oven? He asked. I'm not sure I ever really ever cared about cooking before, but he somehow made me want to know everything he knew. It might have been how happy he looked when he talked about it. Gas ovens have hot spots, he said as he opened the oven door and put the cookie sheets inside. You have to be sure to rotate the pans so they'll cook evenly. He closed the door and pulled the oven mitt off his hand and in tossed it on the counter. A pizza stone helps too. If you just keep it in the oven, even when you aren't baking pizza. Oh, oh my God! What happened? What happened to me? Even when you aren't baking pizza, it helps eliminate the hot spots. He walked over to me and placed his hands on either side of me. The electricity kicked on right as he was pulling down the collar of my shirt. He kissed the spot on my shoulder he always loves kissing and slowly slid his hands up my back. I swear, sometimes when he's not even here, I can still feel his lips on my collarbone. He was just about to kiss me on the mouth when we heard a car pull into the driveway and the garage door start to open. I jumped off the island, looking around the kitchen frantically. His eyes went up to my cheeks and he made me look at him. Keep an eye on the cookies. They'll be finished in about 20 minutes. He pressed his lips to mine and then released me, rushing to the living room to grab his backpack. He made it out the back door right when I heard the engine to my father's car shut off. I started gathering all the ingredients together when my father walked into the kitchen from the garage. He looked around and then saw the light on in the oven. Are you cooking? He asked. I nodded because my heart was beating so fast. I was scared he'd hear the trembling in my voice if I responded out loud. I scrubbed for a moment at a spot on the counter that was perfectly clean. I cleared my throat and said, Cookies. I'm baking cookies. He set his briefcase down on the kitchen table and then walked to the refrigerator and pulled out a beer. The electricity has been out, I said. I was bored, so I decided to bake while I waited for it to come back on. My father sat down at the table and spent the next 10 minutes asking me questions about school and if I thought about going to college. Interesting how random that conversation is. Occasionally, when it was just the two of us, I saw glimpses of how a normal relationship with a father could be, sitting at the kitchen table with him discussing colleges and career choices in high school. As much as I hated him most of the time, I still longed for more of these moments with him. If he could always be the guy he was capable of being in these moments, things would be so much different for all of us. I rotated the cookies like Atlas had said to do, and when they were finished, I pulled them out of the oven. All their conversations were like, no, I agree. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I mean, like, I guess that's a normal conversation for a daughter and a father to have, but it just feels like weirdly abrupt, especially when you're 15. Like, you don't really start talking about this shit until like junior year, senior year, more likely. Like, you gotta really start thinking about it junior year, but sophomore year, you're fine. Like, what are we doing? Whatever. Um, uh, Where did I go? Oh, right. I rotated the cookies like Atlas had said to do, and when they were finished, I pulled them out of the oven. I took one off the cookie sheet and handed it to my father. I hated that I was being nice to him. It almost felt like I was wasting one of Alice's cookies. Wow, my father said. These are great, Lily. I forced a thank you, even though I didn't make them. I couldn't very well tell him that, though. They're for school, so you can only have one, I lied. I waited until the rest of them cooled, and then I put them in a Tupperware container and took them to my room. I didn't even want to try one without Atlas, so I waited until later last night when he came over. You should have tried one when they're hot, he said. That's when they're the best. I didn't want to eat them without you, I said. Just throw them in the microwave, honestly. It does. It taints it, but just throw it in the microwave. Not that big of a deal. Anyway, we sat on the bed with our backs against the wall and proceeded to eat half the bowl of cookies. I told him they were delicious, but failed to tell them they were by far the greatest cookies I'd ever eaten. I didn't want to inflate his ego. I kind of liked how humble he was. That's so funny. You're supposed to hype your guy up. Like, what are you talking about? But whatever. I tried to grab at another one, but he pulled the bowl away and put the lid back on it. If you eat too many, you'll make yourself sick and you won't like my cookies anymore. I laughed. Impossible. He took a drink of water and then stood up facing the bed. I made you something, he said, reaching into his pocket. More cookies? I asked. He smiled and shook his head, then held out a fist. I lifted my hand and he dropped something hard in the palm of my hand. It was a small, flat outline of a heart, about 2 inches long, carved out of wood. I rubbed my thumb over it, trying not to smile too big. It wasn't an anatomically correct heart, but it also didn't look like the hand drawn hearts. It was uneven and hollow in the middle. You made this? I asked, looking up at him. He nodded. I carved it with an old whittling knife I found at the house. The ends of the heart weren't connected. They just curved in a little, leaving a little space at the top of the heart. I didn't even know what to say. I felt him sit down on the bed, but I couldn't stop looking at it long enough to even thank him. I carved it out of a branch, he said, whispering, from the oak tree in your backyard. I swear, Ellen, I never thought I could love something so much. Or maybe it wasn't I wasn't Maybe what I was feeling wasn't for the gift, but for him. I closed my fist around the heart and then leaned over and kissed him so hard he fell back onto the bed. I threw my leg over him and straddled him, and he grabbed my waist and grinned against my mouth. I'm going to carve you a damn house out of that oak tree if this is the reward I get, he whispered. I laughed. You have to stop being so perfect, I told him. You're already my favorite person, but now you're making it really unfair to all the other humans because no one will ever be able to catch up to you. He brought his hand to the back of my head and rolled me until I was on my back and he was the one on top. Then my plan is working, he said right before kissing me again. I held on to the heart while we kissed, wanting to believe it was a gift. It was a gift for no reason at all, but part of me was scared it was a gift to remember him by when he leaves for Boston. I didn't want to remember him. If I had to remember him, it would mean he wasn't a part of my life anymore. I don't want him to move to Boston, Ellen. I know that's selfish of me because he can't keep living in that house. I don't know what I'm more afraid might happen, watching him leave or selfishly begging him not to go. I know we really need to talk about it. I'll ask him about Boston tonight when he comes over. I just didn't want to ask him last night because it was a really perfect day. Lily. Dear Ellen, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. He's moving to Boston. I don't really feel like talking about it. Dear Ellen, this is going to be a big one for my mother to hide. My father is usually pretty cognizant of. Okay, what 15-year-old is saying cognizant? Shut the fuck up. Don't piss me off. We get it, girls. So true. Pretty cognizant of hitting her where it won't leave a visible bruise. The last thing he probably wants is for people in the town to know what he does to her. Did I read that right? Let's hope I did. I've seen him kick her a few times, choke her, hit her on the back and the stomach, pull her hair. The few times he's hit her on the face, it's always been a slap, so the marks wouldn't stay for long. But never have I seen him do what he did last night. It was really late when they got home. It was a weekend, so he and my mom went to some community function. My father has a real estate company, and he's also the town mayor. Okay, really random things to mention, kind of late in the game. But since it's a diary, that makes sense. So I'm gonna let it slide. I think we also already knew those things anyway, so kind of reiterating it also makes sense because I forgot if it was mentioned. Anyway, so they have things to do in the public a lot, like go to charity dinners, which is ironic since my father hates charities. But I guess he has to save face. Alice was already in my room when they got home. I could hear them fighting as soon as they walked through the front door. A lot of the conversation was muffled, but for the most part it sounded like my father was accusing her of flirting with some man. Now I know my mother, Ellen. She would never do something like that. If anything, a guy probably looked at her and it made my father jealous. My mother is really beautiful. I have heard him call her a whore, and then I heard the first blow. I started to climb out of my bed, but Alice pulled me back and told me not to go in there, that I might get hurt. I told him it actually helps sometimes, that when I go in there, my father backs off. Alice tried to talk me out of it, but finally I got up and went into the living room. Ellen, he was on top of her. They were on the, oh no. Oh wow. Okay. I have an idea of where this is going. I'm gonna skim and probably skip it. Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna skip it. Okay. Okay, yeah. Ellen, I didn't know one human was capable of feeling so much hate inside one heart. And I'm not even talking about my father. I'm talking about me. I walked straight into the kitchen and I opened a drawer. I grabbed the biggest knife I could find and I don't know how to explain it. It was like I wasn't even in my own body. I could see myself walking across the kitchen with a knife in my hand, and I knew I wasn't going to use it. I just wanted something bigger than myself that could scare him away from her. But right before I made it out of the kitchen, two arms went around my waist and picked me up from behind. I dropped the knife, and my father didn't hear it, but my mother did. We locked eyes as Atlas carried me back to my bedroom. When we were back inside my room, just started hitting him in the chest, trying to get back out there to her. I was crying and doing everything I could to get him out of my way, but he wouldn't move. He just wrapped his arms around me and said, "Lily, calm down." He kept saying it over and over, and he held me there for a long time until I accepted that he wasn't going to let me go back out there. He wasn't going to let me have that knife. He walked over to the bed and grabbed his jacket and started putting on his shoes. "We'll go next door," he said. "We'll call the police." The police. My mother had warned me not to call the police in the past. She said it could jeopardize my father's career, but in all honesty, I didn't care at that point. I didn't care that he was the mayor or that everyone who loved him didn't know the awful side of him. The only thing I cared about was helping my mother, so I pulled on my jacket and went to the closet for a pair of shoes. When I stepped out of my closet, Atlas was staring at my bedroom door. It was opening. My mother stepped inside and quickly shut it, locking it behind her. I'll never forget what she looked like. She had blood coming down from her lip. Her eye was already starting to swell. Nair is hysterical. It's like, I have never in my life given a single shit about a mayor. Like, and we live in a relatively like small town too. So like it feels like we should know the mayor, everybody should like the mayor, but no, I don't think anybody knows who the mayor is. So it's like, okay, you have to be lying about the mayor being so significant, but you know. Anyway, her eye was already starting to swell, and she had a clump of her hair just resting on her shoulder. She looked at Atlas and then me. I didn't even take a moment to feel scared that she caught me in my room with a boy. I didn't care about that. I was just worried about her. I walked over and grabbed her hands and walked her to my bed. I brushed the hair off her shoulder and then from her forehead. "He's gonna go call the police, Mom, okay?" Her eyes grew real wide and she started shaking her head. We're like a city manager. That's such a funny thing to have. Instead of a mayor. I love city manager. That's so stupid. That makes it sound like the job is even less real than mayor already sounds. But anyway, her eyes grew real wide and she started shaking her head. "No," she said. She looked over at Atlas and said, "You can't. No." He was already at the window about to leave, so he stopped and looked at me. "He's drunk, Lily," she said. "He heard your door shut, so we went to our bedroom." He stopped. "If you call the police, it'll just make it worse. Believe me. Just let him sleep it off. It'll be better tomorrow." I shook my head and could feel the tears stinging my eyes. "Mom, he was trying to rape you." She ducked her head and winced when I said that. She shook her head again and said, "It's not like that, Lily. We're married, and sometimes marriage is just... You're too young to understand it." It got really quiet for a minute, and then I said, "I hope to hell I never do." That's when she started to cry. She just held her head in her hands and she started to sob, and all I could do was wrap my arms around her and cry with her. I've never seen her this upset, or this hurt, or this scared. It broke my heart, Ellen. It broke me. When she was finished crying, I looked around the room and Atlas had left. We went to the kitchen and I helped her clean up her lip and her eye. She never did say anything about him being there, not one thing. I waited for her to tell me I was grounded, but she never did. I realized that maybe she didn't acknowledge it because that's what she does. Things that hurt her just get swept under the rug, never to be brought up again. Lily. Dear Ellen, I think I'm ready to talk about Boston now. He left today. I've shuffled my deck of cards so many times my hands hurt. I'm scared if I don't get how I feel on paper, I'll go crazy holding it all in. Our last night didn't go over so well. We kissed a lot at first, and we were both too sad to really care about it. For the second time in 2 days, he told me he changed his mind and that he wasn't leaving. He didn't want to leave me alone in this house, but I've lived with his parents for almost 16 years. It was silly of him to turn down a home in favor of being homeless just because of me. We both knew that, but it still hurt. I tried not to be so sad about it, so when we were lying there, I asked him to tell me about Boston. I told him maybe one day when I got out of school, I could go there. He got this look in his eye when he started talking about it, a look I'd never seen, sort of like he was talking about heaven. He told me about about how everyone has the greatest accents there. Instead of car, they say ka. He must not realize that's that he sometimes says his R's like that too. He said he lived there from the ages of 9 until he was 14, so I guess that he maybe picked up a little bit of the accent. He told me about how his uncle lives in an apartment building with the coolest rooftop deck. A lot of apartments have them, he said. Some even have pools. Plethora, Maine probably didn't even have a building that was tall enough for a rooftop deck. I wondered what it would be like, what it would feel like to be up that to be that high up. I asked him if he ever went up there, and he said yes. So true, Trilla. That when he was younger, sometimes he would go to the roof and just sit up there and think while he looked out over the city. He told me about the food. I already knew he liked to cook, but I had no idea how much passion he had for it. I guess because he doesn't have a stove or a kitchen, so other than the cookies he baked me, he's never really talked about cooking before. He told me about the harbor and how, before his mother remarried, she used to take him fishing out there. I mean, Boston isn't any different from any other big city, I guess, he said. There's not a lot that makes it stand out. It's just, I don't know. There's a vibe. A really good energy. When people say they live in Boston, they're proud of it. I miss that sometimes. I ran my fingers through his hair and said, "Well, you make it sound like the best place in the world, like everything is better than in Boston." He looked at me and his eyes were sad when he said, "Everything is almost better in Boston, except the girls. Boston doesn't have you." That made me blush. He kissed me real sweet, and then I said to him, "Boston doesn't have me yet. Someday I'll move there and I'll find you." He made me promise. Said if I moved to Boston, everything really would be better there, and it would be the best city in the world. We kissed some more, and did some other things that I won't bore you with, although that's not to say they were boring. They were not. But then this morning I had to tell him goodbye, and he held me and kissed me so much I thought I might die if he let go. But I didn't die, because he let go and here I am, still living, still breathing, just barely. Lily. I flipped to the next page but slammed the book shut. There's only one more entry and I don't know that I really feel like reading it now or ever. I put the journal back in my closet knowing that my chapter with Atlas is over. He's happy now. I'm happy now. Time can definitely heal all wounds, or at least most of them. I turn off my lamp and pick up my phone to plug it in. I have two missed text messages from Ryle and one from my mother. Hey, Ryle. Hey, naked truth commencing 3, 2. I'm cringing. I couldn't. Wow. I was worried that being in a relationship would add to my responsibilities. That's why I've avoided them my whole life. I already have enough on my plate, and seeing the stress that my parents' marriage seemed to cause them and the failed marriages of some of my friends, I wanted no part in something like that. But after tonight, I realized that maybe a lot of people were just doing it wrong because what's happening between us doesn't feel like a responsibility, it feels like a reward, and I'll fall asleep wondering what I did to deserve it. I pull my phone to my chest and smile. Then I screenshot the text because I'm keeping it forever. I open up the third text message. Mom, a doctor, Lily, and your own business? I want to be you when I grow up. I screenshot that one too. Chapter 12. "What are you doing to those poor flowers?" Alyssa asks from behind me. I clamp another silver washer closed and slide it down the stem. Steampunk. We both stand back and admire the bouquet. At least, I hope she's looking at it with admiration. It turned out better than I thought it would. I used florist dip dye to turn some of the white roses a deep purple. Then I decorated the stems with different steampunk elements, like tiny metal washers and gears, and even superglued a small clock to the leather brown strap that's holding the bouquet together. Steampunk? It's a trend, kind of a subgenre of fiction, but it's catching on in other areas art, music. I turn around and smile, holding up the bouquet, and now flowers. Alyssa takes the flowers from me and holds them up in front of her. They're so weird. I love them so much. She hugs them. Can I have them? I pull them away from her. No, they're a grand opening display, not for sale. I take the flowers from her and grab the vase I made yesterday. I found a pair of old button-up women's boots at a flea market last week. They reminded me of the steampunk style, and the boots are actually where I got the ideas for the flowers. I washed the boots last week, dried them, and then superglued pieces of metal to them. Once I brushed them with Mod Podge, I was able to line the inside with a vase to hold water for the flowers. Alyssa, I placed the flowers on the center display table. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what I'm supposed to do with my life. Steampunk? She asked. I laugh and spin around. Create, I say, and then I flip the sign to open, 15 minutes early. We both spend the day busier than we thought we'd be. Between phone orders, internet orders, and walk-in, neither of us even has time to take a lunch break. You need more employees, Alyssa says as she passes me, holding two bouquets of flowers. That is at 1 o'clock. You need more employees, she says to me at 2 o'clock, holding the phone to her ear and writing down an order while ringing someone up at the register. Marshall stops by after 3 o'clock and asks how it's going. Alyssa says she needs more employees. I help a woman take a bouquet to her car at 4 o'clock, and as I'm walking back inside, Alyssa's walking out holding another bouquet. You need more employees, she says, exasperated. At 6 o'clock, she locks the door and flips the sign. She falls against the door and slides to the floor, looking up at me. I know, I tell her. I need more employees. She just nods. And then we laugh. I walk over to where she's seated and I sit next to her. We lean our heads together and look at the store. The steampunk flowers are front and center. Although I refused to sell this particular bouquet, we had 8 pre-orders for more of them. I'm proud of you, Lily, she says. I smile. I couldn't have done it without you, Issa. We sit there for several minutes, enjoying the rest we've finally given our feet. This was honestly one of the best days I've ever had, but I can't help but feeling a nagging sadness that Ryle never stopped by. He also never texted. Have you heard from your brother today? I ask. She shakes her head. No, but I'm sure he's just busy. I nod. I know he's busy. We both look up when someone knocks on the door. I smile when I see him cupping his hands around his eyes with his face pressed to the window. He finally looks down and sees us sitting on the floor. Speak of the devil, Alyssa says. I jump up and unlock the door to let him in. As soon as I open it, he's pushing his way inside. I missed it? I did. I missed it. He hugs me. I'm sorry. I tried to get here as soon as I could. I hug him back and say, It's fine. You're here. It was perfect. I'm giddy with excitement that he made it at all. You're perfect, he says, kissing me. Alyssa brushes past us. You're perfect, she mimics. Hey, Ryle, guess what? Ryle releases me. What? Alyssa grabs the trash can and drops it on the counter. Lily needs to hire more employees. I laugh at her constant repetition. Ryle squeezes my hand and says, Sounds like business was good. She shrugs. I'm sorry. I shrug. I can't complain. I mean, I'm no brain surgeon, but I'm pretty good at what I do. Ryle laughs. You guys need any help cleaning up? Alyssa and I put him to work, helping us clean up after the big day. We get everything finished and prepped for tomorrow, and then Marshall arrives just as we're finishing up. He's carrying a bag when he walks inside and drops it on the counter. He begins to pull out huge lumps of some kind of material and tosses them at each of us. I catch mine and unfold it. It's a onesie, with kittens all over it. Bruins game, free beer, suit up, team! Alyssa groans and says, Marshall, you made $6 million this year. Do we really need free beer? He shoves a finger against her lips, pushing them in opposite directions. Shh! Don't speak like a rich girl, Issa. Blasphemy. She laughs, and Marshall grabs the onesie out of her hands. He unzips it and helps her into it. Once we're all suited up, we lock the door and head to the bar. I've never seen I've never in my life seen so many men in onesies. Alyssa and I are the only woman wearing them, but I kind of like that. It's loud. So loud, and each time the Bruins make a good play, Alyssa and I have to cover our ears from the screams. After about half an hour, a booth on the top floor opens up, and we all run upstairs to claim it. Much better, Alyssa says as we slide in. It's much quieter up here. That's how you say rich, I suppose. Free beer. So true. That's that rich guy mindset, right? You have that. You'll be rich someday if you keep thinking that way. Alyssa says as we slide in. It's much quieter up here, although still loud compared to normal standards. A waitress comes over to take our drink order. I order red wine, and as soon as I do, Marshall practically jumps out of his seat. Wine? He yells. You're in a onesie. You don't get free wine with a onesie. He tells the waitress to bring me a beer instead. Ryle tells her to bring me wine. Alyssa wants water, and this upsets Marshall even more. He tells the waitress to bring 4 bottles of beer, and then Ryle says 2 beers, red wine, and a water. The waitress is very confused by the time she leaves our table. Marshall throws his arm around Alyssa and kisses her. How am I supposed to try and Ew, you can't fucking talk like this. How am I... Marshall throws his arm around Alyssa and kisses her. I'm cringing. How am I supposed to try and knock you up tonight if you aren't a little wasted? The look on Alyssa's face changes, and I feel instantly bad for her. I know Marshall only said that in fun, but it has to bother her. I know you're cringing. It's bad. I don't like it. You. We're at a bar with our friends. You can't talk about knocking people up right now, okay? Okay. Anyway. Da, da, da. Okay, no way. I spread ahead. The look on Alyssa's face changes and I instantly feel bad for her. I know Marshall only said that in fun, but it has to bother her. She was telling me a few days ago how depressed she is she can't get pregnant. I can't have beer, Marshall. Then drink wine at least. You like me more when you're tipsy. He laughs at himself, but Alyssa doesn't. I can't have wine either. I can't have any alcohol, actually. Marshall stops laughing. My heart does a flip flop. Marshall turns in the booth and grabs her shoulders, making her face him straight on. Alyssa? She just starts nodding, and I don't know who starts crying first, me or Marshall or Alyssa. I'm gonna be a dad, he yells. She's nodding, and I'm just bawling like an idiot. Marshall jumps up in the booth and yells, I'm gonna be a dad! I can't even explain what this moment is like. A grown man in a onesie standing up in a booth at a bar, yelling to whoever will listen that he's gonna be a dad. He pulls her up, and they're both standing in the booth now. He kisses her, and it's the sweetest thing I've ever seen. Until I look at Ryle and catch him chewing on his bottom lip like he's trying to blink back a potential tear. He glances at me and sees me staring, so he looks away. Shut up, he says. She's my sister. I smile and lean over and kiss him on the cheek. Congratulations, Uncle Ryle. Once the parents-to-be stop making out in the booth, ew, but understandable. Ryle and I both stand up and congratulate them. Alyssa says she's been feeling sick for a while, but just took a test this morning before our grand opening. She was going to wait and tell Marshall tonight when they got home, but she couldn't hold it in for another second. Oh, that was kind of sweet, but Ryle ruined it by being there. So true. He's such a piece of shit and should kill himself right now. I miss Atlas. Oh, Atlas. Um. Okay. Our drinks come and we order food. Once the waitress walks away, I look at Marshall. How did you two meet? He says, Alyssa tells the story better than I do. Alyssa perks up and leans forward. I hated him, she says. He was Ryle's best friend, and he was always at the house. I thought he was so annoying. He had just moved to Ohio from Boston. He had that Boston accent. He thought it made him so cool, but I just wanted to slap him every time he spoke. She's so sweet, Marshall says sarcastically. You are an idiot, Alyssa replies, rolling her eyes. Anyway, one day, Ryle and I had a few friends over. Nothing big, but our parents were out of town, so of course we had a little get together. There were 30 people there, Ryle says. It was a party. Okay, a party, Alyssa says. I walked into the kitchen and Marshall was standing there pressed up against some floozy. She wasn't a floozy, he says. She was a nice girl. Tasted like Cheetos, but what an interesting. Marshall's the funniest fucking character in this goddamn book, because like, he's there to be comedic relief, which is very funny to read in book form. Like normally that's like a cartoon character thing, but he's comedic relief in a novel, which is like, what are you doing here? Tastes like Cheetos is also crazy. Nothing but respect for this girl. Hope she's enjoying her Cheetos. Alyssa glares at him, so he shuts up. She turns back to me. I lost it, she says. I started yelling at him to take his horse to his own house. The girl was literally so terrified of me, she ran for her door and didn't come back. Cock blocker, Marshall says. Alyssa punches him in the shoulder. Anyway, after I cock blocked him, I ran to my room, embarrassed that I did that. It was out of pure jealousy, and I didn't even realize that I liked him that way until I saw his hands on some other girl's ass. I threw myself on my bed and started crying. A few minutes later, he walked into my room and asked me if I was okay. I rolled over and yelled, I like you, you stupid fuckface. And the rest is history, Marshall says. I laugh. Aw, stupid fuckface. How sweet. Ryle holds up a finger and says, You're leaving out the best part. Alyssa shrugs. Oh yeah. So Marshall walked over to me, pulled me off the bed, kissed me with the same mouth he was just kissing the floozy with, and we made out for half an hour. Ryle walked in on us and started screaming at Marshall. Then Marshall pushed Ryle out of my bedroom, locked the door, and made out with me for another hour. She's dude, so true. This is abysmal. Like, for a good several paragraphs, I was like, I am reading fan fiction. But I'm not. This is a real book published, paid for, with a movie that I'm gonna make everybody watch with me on Discord, probably. I know I said that I'd do that with Timeless Christmas, but Christmas season is over, so I can't. But this isn't seasonal. So we're gonna watch the movie. Which I think is out. Not sure. No, okay. Riley's shaking his head, betrayed by my best friend. Marshall pulls Alyssa to him. I like her, you stupid fuckface. Alright, that's enough. That's quite enough, thank you. Um, I laugh, but Ryle turns to me with a serious look on his face. I didn't speak to him for an entire month. I was so mad. I eventually got over it. We were 18, she was 17. Wasn't much I could do in the way of keeping them apart. Wow, I say. I sometimes forget how close in age you two are. Alyssa sm- It's funny because like she does this a lot. Where like my gut instinct is to say I forget sometimes how close in age you two are, but she says I sometimes forget. Which like I wouldn't say it like that. Ew, also, like, it's not even fan fiction writing. It's like reading a PowerPoint presentation. It's like bullets on the on each slide. Oh, that's terrible. Alyssa smiles and says, 3 kids in 3 years. I feel so sorry for my parents. The table grows quiet. I see an apologetic look from Alyssa to Ryle. An apologetic look passed from Alyssa to Ryle. 3? I ask. You have another sibling? Ryle straightens up and takes a sip of his beer. He sets it back down on the table and says, We had an older brother. He passed away when we were kids. Such a great night ruined by a simple question. Luckily, Marshall redirects the conversation like a pro. That's my boy. That's my boy Marshall. I spend the rest of the evening listening to stories about them growing up. I'm not sure I've ever laughed as hard as I have tonight. When the game is over, we all walk back to the shop to retrieve our cars. Ryle had said he caught an Uber over earlier, so he'll just ride with me. Before Alyssa and Marshall leave, I tell her to hold on. I run inside the store and grab the steampunk flowers and run them back to their car. Her face lights up when I hand them over to her. I'm happy you're pregnant, but that's not why I'm giving you these flowers. I just want you to have them because you're my best friend. Alyssa squeezes me and whispers in my ear, I hope he marries you someday. We'll be even better sisters. Could be better lesbians, honestly. And then everyone would be safe from men. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, anyway. She climbs inside her car and they leave, and I just stand there watching them because I don't know that I've ever had a friend like her in my whole life. Maybe it's the wine. I don't know. But I love today. Everything about it. I especially love how Ryle looks leaning against my car watching me. They're really beautiful when you're happy. You're really oh sorry, I fucked it up. You're really beautiful when you're happy. Ugh, this day, perfect. Do not think. I hate when characters think. It disgusts me. Okay, anyway. We're making our way up the stairs. We're making our way up the stairs to my apartment when Ryle grabs my waist and pushes me against the wall. Ew. Do not do that. He just starts kissing me right there in the stairwell. Impatient, I mutter. He laughs and cuffs my ass with both of his hands. Nope, it's this onesie. You should really consider making this your business attire. He kisses me again and doesn't stop kissing me until someone passes us heading down the stairs. The guy mumbles, nice onesies, as he squeezes past us. Did the Bruins win? Ryle nods. Damn. Kill. Alright. Anyway. Once he's gone, I step away. Oh, wait. Ryle nods, 3-1, he responds without looking up at the guy. Nice, the guy says. Once he's gone, I step away from Ryle. What is this onesie thing? Does every male in Boston know? Male. Ugh, ew. Does every male in Boston know about this? He laughs and says, Free beer, Lily. It's free beer. He pulls me up the stairs, and when we walk in the door, Lucy is standing at the kitchen table taping up a box of her stuff. There's another box she hasn't taped up yet, and I could swear I could see a bowl that I bought at Home Goods sticking out of the top. She said she'd have all of her stuff out by next week, but I have a feeling she'll conveniently have some of my stuff too. This bitch. What the fuck? Who are you? She asked, looking Ryle up and down. Ryle Kincaid. I'm Lily's boyfriend. Lily's boyfriend. Did you hear that? Boyfriend. It's the first time he's confirmed it, and he said it so confidently. My boyfriend, huh? I walk into the kitchen and grab a bottle of wine and 2 wine glasses. Ryle comes up behind me as I'm pouring the wine and snakes his arms around my waist. Yep, your boyfriend. I hand him a glass of wine and say, So I'm a girlfriend? He holds up his glass and clinks it against mine. To the end of trial runs and the beginning of sure things. We're both smiling as we take a drink of our wine. Lucy stacks the boxes together and walks toward the door. Looks like I got out right in time, she says. The door closes behind her and Ryle raises an eyebrow. I don't think your roommate likes me very much. You'd be surprised. I didn't think she liked me either, but yesterday she asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. I think she's just hoping for free flowers, though. She's very opportunistic. Ryle laughs and leans against the refrigerator. His eyes fall to a magnet that says Boston on it. He pulls it off the refrigerator and raises an eyebrow. You'll never get out of Boston purgatory if you keep souvenirs of Boston on your fridge like a tourist. I laugh and grab the magnet, slapping it back on the fridge. I like that he remembers so much about the night we met. It was a gift. It only counts as touristy if I bought it myself. He steps over to me and takes my glass of wine from my hands. He sets both of our glasses on the countertop and then leans in and gives me a deep, passionate, drunken kiss. I can taste the tart fruitiness of the wine on his tongue and I like it. His hands go to the zipper on my onesie. Let's get you out of these clothes. Ugh. Okay, you can't fucking say that when it's a onesie. That's not cool. What does it keep doing? I know. He's very grabby. Stop taking my shit, man. Hands off. You're gross. Okay, blah blah blah, they fuck. Okay. I have to run an ad, so I will be right back. Everybody sit tight during the ad. Okay, I'm back now. Let's fucking jump right back into chapter 13, shall we? I think we shall. Starting off strong with a text conversation, which I'm just gonna cringe at right now because I didn't last time, so we're due for a text conversation cringe. Okay, Ryle, are you at home or still at work? Work. Should be done in about an hour. Can I come see you? You know how people say there's no such thing as a stupid question. Okay, you know how people say there's no such thing as a stupid question? They're wrong. That was a stupid question. Smiley face. Thank you, it is good to be back. Half an hour later, he's knocking at the front door of the floral shop. I closed the shop almost 3 hours ago, and I'm still here, trying to get caught up on the chaos that was the first month. The store is still too new to get an accurate projection of how well or how bad it's doing. Some days are great, and some are so slow I send Alyssa home. But overall, I'm happy with how it's gone so far and happy with how things are going with Ryle. I unlocked the door to let him in. He's in light blue scrubs again, and he still has a stethoscope around his neck, fresh from work. Very nice touch. I swear, every time I see him straight off a shift, I have to hide the stupid grin on my face. I give him a quick kiss and then turn back toward my office. I have a few things to finish up, and then we can go back to my place. He follows me to my office and closes the door. You got a couch? He asks, looking around my office. I've spent some of this week putting the finishing touches on it. I bought a couple of lamps so I don't have to turn on the overpowering fluorescent lights. The lamps give the room a soft glow. I also bought a few plants to keep here permanently. It's no garden, but it's as close as it gets. Ugh, sorry, damn. It's come a long way since this room was being used as storage for vegetable crates. Ryle walks. Uh. Ryle looks over to the couch and falls down onto it face first. Take your time, he mumbles into the pillow. I'll just nap until you're finished. I sometimes worry about how hard he pushes himself with work, but I don't say anything. I've been sitting in my office going on 12 hours now, so I don't have much room to talk when it comes to being too ambitious. I spend the next 15 minutes or so finalizing orders. When I'm finished, I close my laptop and look over at Ryle. I thought he'd be asleep, but instead he's on his side with his head propped up on his hand. He's been watching me this whole time, and seeing the smile on his face makes me blush. I push my chair back and stand up. Lily, I think I like you too much, he says as I make my way over to him. I scrunch up my nose and he sits up on the couch and pulls me into his lap. That was a bit much, but okay. Too much? That doesn't sound like a compliment. That's because I don't know if it is, he says. He adjusts my legs on either side of him and then wraps his arms around my waist. This is my first real relationship. I don't know if I'm supposed to like you this much yet. I don't want to scare you away. I laugh, like that could ever happen. You work way too much to smother me. He rubs his hands up my back. Does it bother you that I work too much? I shake my head. No, I worry about you sometimes because I don't want you to burn yourself out. But I don't mind that I have to share you with your passion. I actually really like how ambitious you are. It's kind of sexy. It might be my favorite thing about you. You know that I you know what I like the most about you? I already know this answer, I say smiling. My mouth. Ugh. Don't shut the fuck up. Okay. He leans his head back up the couch. Oh yeah, that does come first. But you know what my second favorite thing about you is? I shake my head. You don't put pressure on me to be something I'm incapable of being. You accept me exactly how I am. I smile. Well, in all fairness, you're a little different from when I first met you. You aren't so anti-girlfriend anymore. That's because you make it easy, he says, sliding a hand inside the back of my shirt. It's easy being with you. I can still have the career I've always wanted, but you make it 10 times easier with the way you support me. When I'm with you, I feel like I get to have my cake and eat it too. Now both of his hands are beneath my shirt, pressed against my back. He pulls me toward him and kisses me. I grin against his mouth and whisper, Is it the best cake you've ever tasted? I really can't stand these characters. Again, I swear to God, the only bearable character is Marshall, and it's because he's so rare. He's here every other chapter for like 4 paragraphs, and he says the stupidest shit you've ever heard in your goddamn life, and then he's gone, and it's like, yes, Marshall, Mr. S, and then he disappears again. It's perfect. It's the perfect amount for an annoying character such as him to be here. He's a breath of fresh air, because like he's so ridiculous. He's still like fanfiction esque, but at least he's funny and stupid. You know what I mean? You're like, what's his ass gonna get up to next? Oh, he's gonna be a father? Happy for him. You know what I mean? And then he's gone. I don't have to think about him anymore. Um, one of his hands. Okay, one of his hands moves to the back of my bra, and he at work, at my job, at my job. Okay, one of his hands moves to the back of my bra and he unfastens it with ease. I'm pretty sure, but maybe I need another taste of it to be positive. He pulls my shirt and bra over my head. Okay. Alright. What the fuck? Um, all right. Um, um, okay. I smile, loving how his words feel against my skin inside my heart. I open my mouth to tell him I like him too, but my voice is cut off by the sound of his phone. They fuck. We'll just there you go. It's my mother, he says, leaning over and kissing the top of my knee that's resting against the back of the couch. He tosses the phone aside and then stands and walks over to my desk, grabbing a box of tissues. This is always awkward having to clean up after sex, but I can't say it's ever been this awkward before, knowing his mother is on the other end of that ring. All right, fair enough. Once all my clothes are back in place, he pulls me against him on the couch and I lie down on top of him, resting my head on his chest. It's after 10 now, and I'm so comfortable I debate just sleeping here for the night. Ryle's phone makes another noise, alerting him to a new voicemail. The thought of seeing him interact with his mother makes me smile. Alyssa talks about their parents some, but I've never really talked to Ryle about them before. Do you get along with your parents? His arm is stroking mine gently. Yeah, I do. They're good people. We hit a rough patch when I was a teenager, but we worked through it. I talk to my mother almost daily now. I fold my arms over his chest. I fold my arms over his chest, okay, and rest my chin on them. Oh, okay, got it. Looking up at him. Will you tell me more about your mother? Alyssa told me they moved to England a few years ago, and that they were in Australia on vacation, but that was like a month ago. He laughs. My mother? Well, my mother is very overbearing, very judgmental, especially of the people she loves the most. She's never missed a single church service, and I have never heard her refer to my father as anything other than Dr. Kincaid. Despite the warnings, he smiles the whole time he talks about her. Your father's a doctor too? He nods. Psychiatrist. He chose a field that also allowed him to have a more normal life. Smart man. Did they ever visit you in Boston? Not really. My mother hates flying, so Alyssa and I fly to England a couple times a year. She does want to meet you though, so you might be going with us on the next trip. I grin. You've told your mother about me? Of course, he says. This is kind of a monumental thing, you know, me having a girlfriend. She calls me every day to make sure I haven't screwed it up somehow. That okay. Second most logical character. Slay. Okay, anyway. I laugh, which makes him reach for his phone. You think I'm kidding? I guarantee she somehow brought you up in the voicemail she left. He presses a few keys and then this is gonna be so funny because right, and then begins to play the voicemail. Hey, sweetheart, it's your mom. Haven't spoken to you since yesterday. Miss you. Give Lily a hug for me. You do still see her, right? Alyssa says you can't stop talking about her. She is still your girlfriend, right? Okay, Gretchen's here. We're having high tea. Love you. Kiss, kiss. I press my face against. That's so funny. I love her. I press my face against his chest and laugh. We've only been dating a few months. How much do you talk about me? He pulls my hand up between us and kisses it. Too much, Lily. Way too much. I smile. I can't wait to meet them. Not only did they raise an incredible daughter, but they made you. That's pretty impressive. His arms tighten around me and he kisses the top of my head. What was your brother's name? I ask him. I can feel a slight stiffness in him after I ask that. I regret bringing it up, but it's too late to take it back. Thank God she's kind of nice. But no, so true. I they're they chose to live in England? Ew. I'm just kidding. Um b- but raising Ryle? Not so sure. I can tell by his voice that it's not something he wants to talk about right now. Instead of pressing it further, I lift my head and scoot forward, pressing my mouth to his. I should know better. Kisses can't seem to stop at just kisses when it comes to me and Ryle. In a matter of minutes, he's inside of me again, but this time it's everything the other time wasn't. This time we make love. Yeah, no, your kids are very weird. Okay, anyway, chapter 14. Wow, that's a very short chapter. Whatever, okay. My phone rings. I pick it up to see who it is, and I'm a little taken aback. It's the first time Ryle has ever called me. We always just text. How odd to have a boyfriend for over 3 months that I've never once spoken to on the phone. Hello? Hey, girlfriend, he says. I smiled cheesily at the sound of his voice. Hey, boyfriend. Guess what? What? I'm taking the day off tomorrow. Your floral shop doesn't open until 1 o'clock on Sundays. I'm on my way to your apartment with 2 bottles of wine. You want to have a sleepover with your boyfriend and have drunken sex all night and sleep until noon? It's really embarrassing what his words do to me. I smile and say, guess what? What? I'm cooking you dinner and I'm wearing an apron. Oh yeah, he says, just an apron, and then I hang up. A few seconds later, I get a text message. Pic, please. Hysterical. Get over here and you can take the picture yourself. I'm almost finished preparing the casserole mixture. Ugh. Sorry, you can't hype up making dinner and then make a casserole. A casserole is a dish to pass at an event you don't really want to go to. You're cooking dinner for your boyfriend. Dude, I'm so pissed. If I got there and it was a casserole, I'd be like, oh, a casserole. Like, come on, man. I'm just kidding. Casseroles aren't that bad, but okay. Anyway, I pour it into the glass pan and don't turn around when I hear him walk into the kitchen. When I said I was just wearing an apron, I meant it. I'm ugh. Okay. Blah blah blah. Uh, okay, they're not fucking yet. I'll keep going. Right? Okay, I meant it. I'm not. Girl, what if you hurt your titties? Yeah. When you work in a restaurant, you're supposed to wear long pants so you don't burn yourself with like oil and stuff or like drop shit on you. This was a cross I was willing to bear when I worked at a restaurant. I didn't give a fuck. I was wearing shorts all the time. Anyway, I'm not even wearing panties. I can hear him suck in a rush of air when I reach over the oven and stick the casserole inside. I might reach a little too far for show when I do it. When I close the That's not serve safe. Exactly. And you always got to be thinking about that stuff even in your own home. Imagine all the shellfish poisoning you might get. I can't remember any of the diseases. Anyway, when I close the oven, I don't face him. I grab a rag and start wiping down the oven, making sure to sway my hips as much as possible. I squeal when I feel a piercing sting on my right butt cheek. That's so funny. Okay, I spit out I can't help but laugh. Like, I know it's like supposed to be like cute and romantic, but this is funny to me. You guys are being ridiculous. Did you just bite me? What the fuck? I thought he pinched her. He gives me an innocent look. How'd you get down there? So quick. Like, what? Okay, anyway. He gives me I'm cringing. I can't do it. Okay. He gives me an innocent look. Don't tempt the scorpion if you don't want to get stung. He eyes me up and down while he opens one of the bottles. He holds it up before he pours us a glass and says, "It's vintage." Vintage, I say with mock impression. What's the special occasion? He hands me a glass and says, "I'm going to be an uncle. I have a smoking hot girlfriend and I get to perform a very rare, possibly once in a lifetime, craniophagus separation on Monday." A cranial what? He finishes off his glass of wine and pours himself another one. Craniophagus separation. Conjoined twins, he says. He points to a spot on the top of his head and taps it, attached right here. We've been studying them since they were born. It's a very rare surgery. Very rare. For the first time, I think I'm genuinely turned on by him as a doctor. I mean, I admire his drive. I admire his dedication, but seeing how excited he is about but seeing how excited he is about what he's doing for a living is seriously sexy. How long do you think it'll take? I ask. He shrugs. Not sure. Sorry, I was seeing when he was doing the surgery. Not that it matters, just curious. Not sure. They're young, so being under general anesthesia for too long is a concern. He holds up his right hand and wiggles his fingers. But this is a very special hand that has been through almost $500,000 worth of specialty education. I have a lot of faith in his hand. I walk over to him and press my lips to his palm. I'm a little fond of this hand, too. He slides. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm on my third glass of wine when he walks out of my bedroom. I'm on the phone with my mother, so I watch him from the couch as he makes his way to the kitchen and pours himself another glass. That is some seriously good wine. What are you doing tonight? My mother asks. I have her on speakerphone. Ryle is leaning against a wall watching me talk to her. Not much, helping Ryle study. That sounds not very interesting, she says. Ryle winks at me. It's actually very interesting, I say to her. I help him study a lot, mostly reviewing fine motor control of the hands. In fact, we'll probably be all night. To your mother? What is wrong with you? You fucking horn dog. You can't talk. No, no matter how horny you are, You can't say that shit to your mom. What the? I'm doing another. I'm fucking appalled. Flabbergasted. Okay. Anyway. The 3 glasses of wine has made me frisky. I can't believe I'm flirting with him while I'm on the phone with my mother. Yeah, man. Yeah, gross. No matter how drunk, I don't give a fuck. You reel it in, man. What are you thinking? I gotta go, I tell her. We're taking Alyssa and Marshall out to dinner tomorrow night, so I'll call you on Monday. Oh, where are you taking them? I roll my eyes. The woman can't take a hint. I don't know. Ryle, where are we taking them? That place we went that one time with your mom, he says. Bibbs, I made reservations for 6 o'clock. My heart feels like it slinks down my chest. My mother says, oh, good choice. Yeah, if you like stale bread. Bye, Mom. I hang up and look at Ryle. I don't want to go back there. I didn't like it. Let's try something new. I failed to tell him why I really don't want to go back there, but how do you tell your brand new boyfriend that you're trying to avoid your first love? Ryle pushes off the wall. You'll be fine, he says. Alyssa's excited to eat there. I told her all about it. Oh. She hasn't said no to you once so far. Lock in, man. If she's communicating with you, I need you to fucking lock in. Ryle, look at me. Get a grip. She doesn't want to go there. You're ruining this for yourself if you really think about it. If you let her go, we see Atlas, who I prefer. So if you don't want to fuck this up for yourself, I'm just saying. Anyway, maybe I'll get lucky and Atlas won't be working. Speaking of food, Ryle says, I'm starving. The casserole. The casserole. Oh shit, I say laughing. Let's go, man. We can see how. So true. Ryle rushes to the kitchen and I stand up to follow him in there. I walk in just as he pulls the oven door open and waves with smoke. Ruin. I get dizzy all of a sudden from standing up too fast after having 3 glasses of wine. I grab the counter beside him to steady myself just as he reaches in to pull the burnt casserole out. Ryle, you need a shit, he yells. Pot holder. The casserole falls from his hand and lands on the floor, shattering everywhere. I lift up my feet to avoid broken glass and mushroom chicken splatter. Doesn't even sound like a good casserole. Anyway, I start laughing as soon as I realize he didn't even think to use a pot holder. Must be the wine. This is some seriously strong wine. Oh man, he fucked up his hand. That's his surgical hand, dude. He slams the oven shut and moves to the faucet, shoving his hand out of the cold water, muttering curse words. I'm trying to suppress my laughter, but the wine and the ridiculousness of the last few seconds are making it hard. I look at the floor, at the mess we're about to have to clean up. The laughter bursts from me. I'm still laughing as I lean over to get a good look at Ryle's hand. I hope he didn't hurt it too bad. I'm instantly not laughing anymore. I'm on the floor, my hand pressed against the corner of my eye. In a matter of 1 second, Ryle's arm came out of nowhere and slammed against me, knocking me backward. There was enough force behind it to knock. What the fuck? Cringe, but like an angry one. Cringe, but we need to fucking kill this guy. Are you for real? Atlas! Atlas! It's your time, babe. Now's your chance. Like, okay, anyway, sorry. Like, come get you, yeah. Save us, Atlas. Okay, okay, there was enough force behind it to knock me off balance. When I lost my footing, I hit my face on one of the cabinet door handles as I came down. Pain shoots through the corner of my eye right near my temple. Then I feel the weight. Heaviness follows and it presses down on every part of me. So much gravity pushing down on my emotions. Everything shatters. My tears, my heart, my laughter, my soul shattered like broken glass raining down around me. I wrap my arms around my head and try to wish away the last 10 seconds. God damn it, Lily, I hear him say. It's not funny. This hand is my fucking career. I don't look up at him. His voice doesn't penetrate through my body this time. It feels like it's stabbing me now. The sharpness of each word coming at me like swords. Then I feel him next to me, his goddamn hand on my back, rubbing. Lily, he says. Oh God, Lily. He tries to pull my arms from my head, but I refuse to budge. I start shaking my head, wanting the last 15 seconds to go away. 15 seconds. That's all it takes to completely change everything about a person. 15 seconds that we'll never get back. He was kind of weird even before these 15 seconds occurred, but can't say if these are a surprising 15 seconds. I mean, I was certainly thrown for a loop, but that's just because he's been so nice. Mm. He pulls me against him and starts kissing the top of my head. Ew. Get off of me, bitch. He should go. I agree. Death. Electric chair. I'm so sorry. I burned my hand. I panicked. You were laughing, and I'm so sorry. It all happened so fast. I didn't mean to push you, Lily. I'm sorry. I don't hear Ryle's voice this time. All I hear is my father's voice. I'm sorry, Jenny. It was an accident. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Lily. It was an accident. I'm so sorry. I just want him away from me. I use every ounce of strength I have in both my hands and legs, and I force him to fuck away from me. He falls backward onto his hands. His eyes are full of genuine sorrow, but then they're full of something else. Worry? Panic? He slowly pulls up his right hand and is covered in blood. Blood is trickling out of his palm down his wrist. I look at the floor, at the shattered pieces of glass from the casserole dish. His hand. I just pushed him onto the glass. Womp womp, he should have thought about that. He turns around and pulls himself up. He sticks his hand under the stream of water and starts rinsing away the blood. I stand up, and just as he pulls a sliver of glass out of his palm and tosses it at the counter, I'm full of so much anger, but somehow concern for his hand still finds its way out. I grab a towel and shove it into his fist. There's so much blood. It's his right hand. His surgery Monday. I try to stop bleeding, but I'm shaking too bad. Ryle, your hand. He pulls away, and with his good hand, he lifts my chin. Don't touch me, bro! Ugh. Okay. Anyway, fuck the hand, Lily. I don't. Oh, you don't care about your hand anymore after you. Get out of my house. Me too. We have to kill him. It's over. He's done. He's done. That was it. That was it. It's over. Are you okay? He is looking back and forth between my eyes frantically as he assesses the cut on my face. My shoulders begin shaking and huge, hurt-filled tears spill down my cheeks. No. I'm a little in shock, and I know he can hear my heart breaking with just that one word because I can feel it in every part of me. Oh my god, you pushed me, Ryle. The realization of what happened hurts worse than the actual action. Ryle wraps his arm around my I'm around your neck, bro. Get him off of you. He could choke you right now. And desperately holds me against him. Oh god, that's even worse. I'm so sorry, Lily. God, I'm so sorry. He buries his face against my hair, squeezing me with every emotion inside of him. Please don't hate me. Please. His voice slowly starts to become Ryle's again, and I feel it in my stomach, in my toes. His entire career depends on his hand, so it has to say something that he's not even worried about it. Right? I'm so confused. There's too much happening. The smoke, the wine, the broken glass, the food splattered everywhere, the blood, the anger, the apologies. It's too much. I'm so sorry, he says again. I pull back and his eyes are red, and I've never seen him look so sad. I panicked. I didn't mean to push you away. I just panicked. All I could think about was the surgery Monday and my hand, and I'm so sorry. He presses his mouth to mine and breathes me in. He's not like my father. He can't be. He's nothing like that uncaring bastard. We're both upset and kissing and confused and sad. I've never felt anything like this moment. So ugly and painful. But somehow the only thing that eases the hurt caused by this man is this man. Ew. Too many men mentions. Like, I'm kind of disgusted. My tears are soothed by his sorrow, my emotions smoothed with his mouth against mine, his hand gripping me like he never wants to let go. This is quite awful, yes. I'm like, no, girl, don't do it. It's terrible. It's awful. Ugh, I want to tear my skin off. Okay. Anyway. Okay. I feel his arms go around my waist and he picks me up, carefully stepping through the mess we've made. I can't tell if I'm more disappointed in him or myself. Him for losing his temper in the first place, or me for somehow finding comfort in his apology. He carries me and kisses me all the way to my bedroom. He's still kissing me, and when he lowers me to the bed and whispers, "I'm sorry, Lily," he moves his lips to the spot on my eye that hit the cabinet and he kisses me there. I'm so sorry. His mouth is on mine again, hot and wet, and I don't even know what's happening to me. I'm hurting so much on the inside, yet my body craves his apology in the form of his mouth and hands on me. I want to lash out at him and react like I always wished my mother would have reacted when my father hurt her, but deep down I want to believe that it was really an accident. Ryle isn't like my father. He's nothing like him. I need to feel his sorrow, his regret. I get both of these things in the way he kisses me. Oh God. Okay, I'm skipping it. They have sex. It's awful. Okay. Oh yikes. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm cringing. Oh yikes. Oh God. He's kissing my shoulder, my cheek, my eye. He's still on top of me, touching me gently. I've never been touched like this, with such tenderness. I try to forget what happened in the kitchen, but it's everything right now. He pushed me away from him. Ryle pushed me. For 15 seconds, I saw a side of him that wasn't him, that wasn't me. I laughed at him when I should have been concerned. He shoved me when. Okay, to be fair, you're you're drunk. He could have been like, "Hey man, this isn't funny." He did not have to push you for laughing. You're okay. He could have been like, "Hey man, hold on." Cuz like getting burned isn't that bad a lot of the time. Like let's be fucking for real for a second. You did nothing wrong, queen. Happens to the best of us. Um He shoved me when he should have never touched me. I pushed him away and caused him to cut his hand. It was awful. The whole thing, the entire 15 seconds it lasted, was absolutely awful. I never want to think about it again. He still has the rag balled up in his hand and is soaked with blood. I push against his chest. I'll be right back, I tell him. He kisses me one more time and rolls off of me. I walk to the bathroom and close the door. I look in the mirror and gasp. Blood. In my hair, on my cheeks, on my body. It's all his blood. Oh, God. Oh. What the fuck? Ooh. Okay. Okay. Cool. This book is bad. Like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, anyway. It's all his blood. I grab a rag and try to wash some off, and then I look under the sink for the first aid kit. I have no idea how bad his hand is. First he burned it, then he sliced it open. Not even an hour after, he was just telling me how important this surgery was to him. No more wine. We're never allowed vintage wine again. I grab the box from under the sink and open the bedroom door. He's walking back into the bedroom from the kitchen with a small bag of ice. He holds it up. For your eye, he says. I hold up the first aid kit. For your hand. We both smile and then sit back down on the bed. He leans against the headboard while I pull his hand to my lap. The whole time I'm dressing his wound, he is holding the bag of ice against my eye. I squeeze some antiseptic cream onto my finger and dab it against the burns on his finger. They don't look as bad as I thought they might be, so that's a relief. Can you prevent it from blistering? I ask him. He shakes his head. Not if it's second degree. I want to ask him if he can still perform the surgery if his fingers have blisters on them come Monday, but I don't bring it up. I'm sure that's on the forefront of his mind right now. Do you want me to put some on your cut? He nods. The bleeding has stopped. I'm sure if he needed stitches, he'd get some, but I think it'll be fine. I pull the ace bandage out of the first aid kit and begin wrapping his hand. Lily, he whispers. I look up at him. His head is resting against the headboard and it looks like he wants to cry. I feel terrible, he says. If I could take it back. Ugh. I know, I say, cutting him off. I know, Ryle. It was terrible. You pushed me. You made me question everything I thought I knew about you, but I know you feel bad about it. Okay. Cool. Glad. We can't take it back. I don't want to bring it up again. I secure the bandage around his hand and look him in the eye. But Ryle, if anything like that ever happens again, I'll know that this time wasn't just an accident, and I'll leave you without a second thought. He stares at me for a long time, his eyebrows drawn apart in regret. He leans forward and presses his lips against mine. It won't happen again, Lily, I swear. I'm not like him. I know that's what you're thinking, but I swear to you. I shake my head, wanting him to stop. I can't take the pain in his voice. I know you're nothing like my father, I say. Just, please don't ever make me doubt you again. Please. He brushes his hair from my forehead. You're the most important part of my life, Lily. I want to be what brings you happiness, not what causes you to hurt. He kisses me and then stands up and leans over me, pressing the ice to my face. Hold this here for about 10 more minutes. It'll prevent it from swelling. I replace his hand with mine. Where are you going? He kisses me on the forehead and says, to clean up my mess. He spends the next 20 minutes cleaning the kitchen. I can hear glass being tossed into the trash can, wine being poured out in the sink. I go to the bathroom and take a quick shower to get his blood off of me, and then I change the sheets on my bed. When he finally has the kitchen cleaned up, he comes to the bedroom with a glass. He hands it to me. It's soda, he says. The caffeine will help. I take a drink of it and feel it fizz down my throat. It's actually the perfect thing. I take another drink and set it on my nightstand. What's it help with? The hangover? Ryle slides into bed and pulls the covers over us. He shakes his head. No, I don't think soda actually helps anything. My mom just used to give me soda after I'd had a bad day, and it always made me feel a little better. I smile. Well, it worked. He brushes his hand down my cheek, and I can see in his eyes and in the way he touches me that he deserves at least one chance at forgiveness. I feel if I don't find a way to forgive him, I'll somewhat be placing blame on him for the resentment I still hold for my father. He's not like my father. Ryle loves me. He has never come out and said it before, but I know he does, and I love him. What happened in the kitchen tonight is something I'm confident won't happen again. Not after seeing how upset he is that he hurt me. All humans make mistakes. What determines a person's character aren't the mistakes we make, it's how we take those mistakes and turn them into lessons rather than excuses. Ryle's eyes somehow grow even more sincere, and he leans over and kisses my hand. He settles his head into the pillow, and we just lie there, staring at each other, sharing this unspoken energy that fills all holes the night has left in us. After a few minutes, he squeezes my hand. Lily, he says, brushing his thumb over mine. I'm in love with you. I feel his words in every part of me, and then I whisper, I love you too. It's the most naked truth I've ever spoken to him. So I've fucking clocked what the book is doing. It's hit me so hard in this in these last paragraphs here. Cause they're going to dinner tomorrow at the restaurant where Atlas works. And she is going to be visibly bandaged or like fucked up. Her eye is going to be bruised. And Atlas, knowing what her relationship with her father was like, is gonna see that and immediately think the worst of it. And it's true. And that's the worst, and that's the best fucking part, is he'll be completely fucking correct. This is where the heat's at. If I'm right, it's like, if I'm correct, this is gonna fucking rock. All right, we push forth. Chapter 15. Okay, I arrive at the restaurant 15 minutes late. Right when I was about to close tonight, I can't say it. I'm actually so psyched. Atlas needs to come in and kill this guy right now. You might actually be right about your theory about how Atlas being like the love interest, you know? So that'd be great. I hope that's the case. I just can't imagine it, because like first guy equals, of course I'm right, but I just want to get there at this point. True. Okay. I've arrived at the restaurant 15 minutes late. Right when I was about to close tonight, I had a customer come in to order flowers for a funeral. I couldn't turn them away because, sadly, funerals are the best business for florists. Ryle waves me over to the table and I walk straight to them, doing my best not to look around. I don't want to see Alice. I tried twice to get them to change the restaurant location, but Alyssa was hellbent on eating here after Ryle told her how good it was. I slide into the booth and Ryle leans over and kisses me on the cheek. Hey, girlfriend. Alyssa groans. God, you guys are so cute, it's sickening. I smile at her, and her eyes immediately go to the corner of my eye. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it might today, which is probably due to Ryle forcing me to keep ice on it. Oh my god, Alyssa says. Ryle told me what happened, but I didn't think it was that bad. I glance at Ryle, wondering what he told her. The truth? He smiles and says, olive oil was everywhere. When she slipped, it was so graceful you'd think she was a ballerina. A lie. Fair enough. I would have done the same thing. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that, man. Somehow we get through. Okay, it was pretty pathetic, I say with a laugh. Somehow we get through dinner without a hitch. No sign of Atlas. No thoughts of last night. I agree. Not. If I were like. If I were ashamed of something, I wouldn't say what I had done, but I don't think I'd lie about it either. You know what I mean? Like if like I also just wouldn't do it. Like, I just wouldn't be that way. Okay, I have done bad things, and I have admitted to them. Like there are things that I do. I don't like physically hurt people, but like sure, emotionally I've done it before. I've made missteps in relationships and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I've always admitted those things. Like I've said some things I shouldn't, and those things I will admit to. And I'll be like, I wasn't right in this, and then I'll say it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't lie. Ooh. Ew. Yuck. Okay, anyway. After we finish with our food, our waiter approaches the table. Care for dessert? He asks. I shake my head, but Alyssa perks up. What do you have? Marshall looks just as interested. We're eating for two, so we'll take anything with chocolate, he says. The waiter nods, and when he walks away, Alyssa looks at Marshall. This baby is the size of a bed bug right now. You better not encourage bad habits for the next several months. The waiter returns with a dessert cart. The chef gives all expectant mothers desserts on the house, he says. Congratulations. Okay. Interesting restaurant we're at. He does, Alyssa says, perking up. Guess why that guess that's why they call it Guess that's why it's called Bibs, Marshall says. Chef likes the babies. Mm. Sorry, Marshall, that one wasn't good. We all look at the cart. Oh god, I say, looking at the options. This is my new favorite restaurant, Alyssa says. We pick out 3 desserts for our table. The 4 of us spend the time waiting for it to be served discussing baby names. No, Alyssa says, Marshall, we're not naming this baby after a state. But I love Nebraska, he whines. Idaho? Marshall. Marshall, you can't say that. Idaho. You're crazy. Alyssa drops her head in her hands. This is going to be the demise of our marriage. Demise, Marshall says. That's actually a good name. Curious phrasing? I fear I'm with you. It was pretty bad. Marshall's murder is thwarted by the arrival of dessert. Our waiter places a piece of chocolate cake in front of Alyssa. How's the meal? The chef asks, looking at Alyssa and Marshall. By the time his eyes make it to mine, my anxiety is seeping from me. Atlas locks eyes, and without thinking, I blurt out, "You're the chef?" The waiter leans around Atlas and says, "The chef, the owner, sometimes waiter, sometimes dishwasher." He gives a new meaning to hands-on. The next 5 seconds go unnoticed by everyone at our table, but they play out in slow motion to me. I was right, dude. It's all up here. I'm a fucking genius. I should get a PhD in slop. I would earn it. I've done my research. I'm intimately familiar with the slop. All right, anyway. It's obvious, like I shouldn't get that much credit, but I should as well. Okay. Anyway, but they play out in slow motion to me. Atlas's eyes fall to the cot in my eye. The bandage wrapped around Ryle's hand. Back to my eye. We love your restaurant, Alyssa says. You have an incredible place here. Atlas doesn't look at her. I see the roll of his throat as he swallows. His jaw hardens, and he says nothing as he walks away. Shit. The waiter tries to cover for Atlas's hasty retreat by smiling and showing way too many teeth. Enjoy your dessert, he says, scuffling off to the kitchen. Bummer, Alyssa says. We find a new favorite restaurant. That chef is an asshole. Ryle laughs. Yeah, but assholes are the best ones. Gordon Ramsay? Good point, Marshall says. I put my hand on Ryle's arm. Bathroom, I tell him. He nods and as I scoot out of the booth, and Marshall says, What about Wolfgang Puck? Do you think he's an asshole? I walk across the restaurant, head down fast paced. As soon as I get into the familiar hallway, I keep going. I push open the door to the women's restroom and then turn around and lock it. Shit, 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 shit. The look in his eye, the anger in his jaw. I'm relieved he walked away, but I'm half convinced he's probably going to be waiting outside the restaurant when we leave, ready to kick Ryle's ass. Yeah, let's fucking go! I breathe in my nose, out my mouth, wash my hands, repeat the breathing. Once I'm more calm, I dry my hands on a towel. I'll just go back out there and tell Ryle I'm not feeling well. We'll leave and we'll never come back. They all think the chef is an asshole, so that can be my excuse. I unlock the door, but I don't pull it open. It starts pushing open from the other side, so I step back. Atlas. Hi, Atlas. Hi. Steps inside the bathroom with me and locks the door. Not hi, Atlas. Bad Atlas. Atlas, get out of here. I know why you're doing it, and I understand and I get it, but also, this is the woman's bathroom. You're being a little locking me in here? Did he? Yes. Atlas steps inside the bathroom with me and locks the door. You can't be locking the door. You can't. Hey, girl. You think I've been abused and you're gonna come into a room with me alone, you, a man, and lock the door behind you. Good move, buddy. Real solid. Very positive. I'm sure me, a battered woman, would really appreciate it. What the fuck are you doing, man? Men are so funny. Men are so dumb. Ugh. Anyway, his back rests against the door as he stares at me, focused on the cut near my eye. What happened? He asks. I shake my head. Nothing. His eyes are narrow, still ice blue, but somehow burning with fire. You're lying, Lily. I muster enough of a smile to get me by. It was an accident. Atlas laughs, but then his face falls flat. Leave him. Leave him? Jesus, he thinks this is something else entirely. And he would be correct. I take a step forward and shake my head. He's not like that, Atlas. It wasn't like that. Ryle is a good person. He tilts his head and leans forward a bit. Funny, you sound just like your mother. Slay. His words sting. I immediately try to reach around him from the door, but he grabs my wrist. Okay. Atlas, buddy, you're coming on a little strong there. Leave him, Lily. I yank my hand away. I turn my back to him and inhale a deep breath. I release it slowly as I face him again. If it's any comparison at all, I'm more scared of you right now than I've ever been of him. My words make Atlas pause for a moment. Thank you, Lily. Excellent point. Wait, what are we agreeing with? Ugh, we are so back. Okay. Anyway, my words make Atlas pause for a moment. He nods. His nod starts out slowly, and then gets more prominent as he steps away from the door. I certainly didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. He motions toward the door, just trying to repay the concern you've always shown me. I stare at him for a moment, unsure how to take his words. He's still raging on the inside, I can see it, but on the outside he's calm, collected, allowing me to leave. I reach forward and unlock the door, and then pull it open. Okay. Slay. Um, I gasp when my eyes meet Ryle's. I quickly glance over my shoulder to see Atlas filing out of the bathroom with me. Ryle's eyes fill with confusion as he looks from me to Atlas. What the fuck, Lily? Ryle. My voice shakes. God, this looks so much worse than it is. Atlas steps around me and turns toward the doors to the kitchen, as if Ryle doesn't even exist to him. Ryle's his eyes, men being stupid. Slay. Hold that opinion. Keep it close. That's the only way men will get any better. All right. Anyway. Okay. Ryle's eyes are glued to Atlas's back. Keep walking, Atlas. Right when Atlas reaches the kitchen doors, he pauses. No, no, no. Keep walking. In what becomes one of the most dreadful moments I can imagine, he spins around and strides towards Ryle, grabbing him by the collar of his shirt. Almost as soon as it happens, Ryle forces Atlas back and slams him against the opposite wall. Atlas lunges for Ryle again, this time shoving his forearm against Ryle's throat, pinning him against the wall. You touch her again and it'll cut your fucking hand off and shove it down your throat, you worthless piece of shit. Atlas, stop, I yell. Atlas releases Ryle forcefully, taking a huge step back. Ryle is breathing heavily, staring at Atlas long and hard. Let's fucking go! Then his focus moves directly to me. Atlas? He says his name with familiarity. Why is Ryle saying Atlas's name like that? Like he's heard me say it before. I've never told him about Atlas. Wait, I did. That first night on the roof, it was one of my naked truths. Ryle lets out a disbelieving laugh and points at Atlas, but he's still looking at me. This is Atlas, the homeless boy you pity fucked? She didn't say pity fucked. What are you saying? Oh god. The hallway instantly becomes a blur of fists and elbows and my screams for them to stop. Two waiters push through the door behind me and shove past me, separating them just as quickly as it started. They're pushed apart against opposite walls, staring each other down, breathing heavily. I can't even look at either of them. I can't look at Atlas, not after what Ryle just said to him. I also can't look at Ryle because he's probably thinking the worst possible thing right now. Out! Atlas yells, pointing at the door but looking at Ryle. Get the hell out of my restaurant! I meet Ryle's eyes as he begins to walk past me, scared of what I'll see in them. But there isn't any anger there, only hurt. Lots of hurt. He pauses as if he's about to say something to me, but his face just twists into disappointment and he walks back out into the restaurant. I finally glance up at Atlas and can see disappointment all across his face. Before I can explain away Ryle's words to him, he turns and walks away, pushing through the kitchen doors. I immediately turn and run after Ryle. He grabs his jacket from the booth and walks toward the exit without even looking at Alyssa and Marshall. Alyssa looks up at me and holds up her hands in question. I shake my head, grab my purse, and say, "It's a long story. We'll talk tomorrow." I follow Ryle outside, and he's walking toward the parking lot. I run to catch up to him, and he stops and punches at the air. "I didn't bring my fucking car!" he yells, frustrated. I pull my keys out of my purse, and he walks up to me and snatches them from my hand. Again, I follow him, this time to my car. I don't know what to do. I don't know if he even wants to speak to me right now. He just saw me locked in a bathroom with a guy I used to be in love with. Then, out of nowhere, that guy attacks him. God, this is so bad. Men. Classic men moment. When we reach my car, he heads straight for the driver's door. He points to the passenger side and says, "Get in, Lily." No, thank you. I think I'll have Alyssa and Marshall drop me off at my place, and you can drive to your keep the car. Keep the car. You can go ahead and drive to your place, and I will have Alyssa and Marshall drop me off at mine. Give me my house keys, though. If they're attached, consider the car a gift. You can keep it. It's on the house, all yours. I get my house key, and you get the car and the car keys, and I will call an Uber, because I forgot I can also do that, and I don't have to drag Alyssa and Marshall around everywhere, but they would also understand, because you're a sack of shit, and Alyssa knows it. Alright, anyway. He doesn't speak to me the entire time we're driving. "Girl, you get in the car!" "And not after last night. You bet your ass." Okay. He doesn't speak to me the entire time we're driving. I say his name once, but he just shakes his head like he's not ready to hear my explanation yet. When we pull into my parking garage, he gets out of the car as soon as he turns it off, like he can't get away from me fast enough. He's pacing the length of the car when I get out. It wasn't what it looked like, Ryle, I swear. He stops pacing, and when he looks at me, my heart doubles over. There's so much pain in his eyes right now, and it's not even necessary. It was all due to a stupid misunderstanding. "I didn't want this, Lily," he says. "I didn't want a relationship. I didn't want this stress in my life." As much as he's hurting because of what he thinks he saw, his words still piss me off. "Well, then leave." "What?" I throw my hands up. "I don't want to be your burden, Ryle. I'm so sorry my presence in your life has been so unbearable." He takes a step forward. "Lily, that's not at all what I'm saying." Then fucking how come you get to say things out of frustration, but I don't get to? Fuck you. Okay, anyway. He takes a step forward. "Lily, that's not at all what I'm saying." He throws his hands up in frustration and then walks past me. He leans against my car and folds his arms over his chest. There's a long stretch of silence while I wait for what he has to say. His head is down, but he lifts it slightly, looking up at... Wait, why didn't he just order an Uber? Just walk. Like, wait. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, walk far enough away to be like, "I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm going home." Like, explain what you're doing. "I'm going to call an Uber. I'm going back to my place. We can talk tomorrow. We'll both cool off." Like, whatever. It's fine. His head is down, but he lifts it slightly, looking up at me. "Naked truth, Lily. That's all I want from you right now. Can you please give me that?" I nod. "Did you know he worked there?" I purse my lips together and wrap my arms over my chest, grabbing at my elbow. "Yes, that's why I didn't want to go back, Ryle. I didn't want to run into him." My answer seems to release a little of his tension. He runs a hand down his face. "Did you tell him what happened last night? Did you tell him about our fight?" I take a step forward and shake my head adamantly. "No, he assumed. He saw my eye and your hand, and he just assumed." He blows out a laden breath and leans his head back, looking up at the roof. It looks like it's almost too painful for him to even ask the next question. "Why were you alone with him in the bathroom?" I take another step forward. "He followed me in there. I know nothing about him now, Ryle. I didn't even know he owned that restaurant. I thought he was just a waiter. He is not a part of my life anymore, I swear. He just... I fold my arms together and drop my voice. We both grew up in abusive households. He saw my face and your hand, and he was just worried for me. That's all it was. Ryle brings his hands up and covers his mouth. I can hear the air rushing through his fingers as he releases his breath. He stands up straight, allowing himself a moment to soak in all I've just said. My turn, he says. He pushes off the car and takes 3 steps toward. Okay. That takes the 3 steps toward me that previously separated us. He puts both hands on my cheeks and looks me dead in the eyes. If you don't want to be with me, please tell me right now, Lily, because when I saw you with him, that hurt. I never want to feel that again. And if it hurts this much now, I'm terrified to think of what it could do to me a year from now. I can feel the tears begin to stream down my cheeks. I place my hands on top of his and shake my head. I don't want anyone else, Ryle. I only want you. He forces the saddest smile I've ever seen on a human. He pulls me to him and holds me there. I wrap my arms around him as tight as I can as he presses his lips to the side of my head. I love you, Lily. God, I love you. I squeeze him tight, pressing a kiss to his shoulder. I love you too. I close my eyes and wish I could wash away the entire last 2 days. Another weird wording. Atlas is wrong about Ryle. I just wish Atlas knew he was wrong. I don't know, Atlas was pretty correct about what he assumed. That was him. He did. Chapter 16. Going good. I mean, I'm not trying to be selfish, but you did taste the dessert, Lily, Alyssa groans. Oh, it was so good. We're never going back there, I say to her. She stomps her foot like a little kid. But nope, we have to respect your brother's feelings. She full. Or did we tell her the truth? Or. She folds her arms over her chest. I know, I know. Why did you have to be a hormonal teenager and fall in love with the best chef in Boston? He wasn't a chef when I knew him. Okay, she does know. Thank God. Lock in. What about your... I agree. Anyway. Whatever, she says. She walks out of my office and closes the door. My phone buzzes with an incoming text. 5 hours down, about 5 more to go. So far, good, so good. Hand is great. I sigh, relieved. I wasn't sure if he'd be able to do the surgery today, but knowing how much he was looking forward to it makes me happy for him. Steadiest hands in all of Boston. I open my laptop and check my email. The first thing I see is an inquiry from the Boston Globe. I open it, and it's from a journalist interested in running an article about the store. I grin like an idiot. So, maybe 2 paragraphs ago, I was like, I wonder how we'll see Atlas again. And I was like, the only way he's gonna be able to come see her is because he's normal. He'll have to come to the flower shop. I wonder how he'll find out about the flower shop. And of course, an inquiry from the Boston Globe. Okay, thank God. I open it, and it's from a journalist interested in running an article about the store. I grin like an idiot and start emailing her back when Alyssa knocks on the door. She opens it and sticks her head in. Hey, she says. Hey, I say back. She taps her fingers on the doorframe. Remember a few minutes ago when you told me I could never go back to Bibbs because it's unfair to Ryle that the boy you loved when you were a teenager is the owner? I fall back against my chair. What do you want, Alyssa? She scrunches up her nose. No way, he's here now? Okay, Slay. Okay, she scrunches up her nose and says, it isn't fair that we can't go back there because of the owner. How is it fair that the owner gets to come here? What? Yeah. Okay, we moved so quick. I kind of thought it would take a couple more chapters before Atlas showed up, but here he is. Okay, anyway. I close my laptop and stand up. Why would you say that? Is he here? She nods and slips inside my office, closing the door behind her. He is. He asked for you. And I know you're with my brother and I'm with Child, but can we please just take a moment to silently admire the perfection that is that man? She's so funny. She stands with us, the readers. She smiles dreamily and I roll my eyes. Alyssa, those eyes though. She opens the door and walks out. I follow behind her and catch sight of Atlas. She's right here, Alyssa says. Would you like me to take your coat? We don't take coats. Atlas glances. What the fuck? She hates her brother. What the fuck did he do to her? Or some other girl that she knew? You know what I mean? It has to be something. Like, I can't imagine treating my sibling this way indirectly. What a weird thing to do. Anyway, Atlas glances up when I walk out of my office. His eyes cut to Alyssa and he shakes his head. No, thank you. I won't be long. Alyssa leans forward over the counter, dropping her chin on her hands. Stay as long as you like. In fact, are you looking for an extra job? Lily needs to hire more people, and we're looking for someone who can lift really heavy things. Requires a lot of flexibility. Bending over. Girl, you're married. I narrow my eyes at Alyssa and mouth enough. She shrugs innocently. I hold my door open for Atlas, but avoid looking directly at him as he passes me. I feel a world of guilt for what happened last night, but also a world of anger for what happened last night. I walk around my desk and drop into my seat, prepared for an argument. When I look up at him, I clamp my mouth shut. He's smiling. He waves his hand around in a circle as he takes a seat across from me. This is incredible, Lily. I pause. Thank you. He continues smiling at me like he's proud of me. Then he places a bag between us on the desk and pushes it toward me. A gift, he says. You can open it later. Why is he buying me gifts? He has a girlfriend. I have a boyfriend. Our past has already caused enough problems in my present. I certainly don't need gifts to exacerbate that. Why are you buying me gifts, Atlas? He leans back in his seat and crosses his arms over his chest. I bought it 3 years ago. I've been holding on to it in case I ever ran into you. Consider it, Atlas. He hasn't changed. Damn it. I pick up the gift and said that's wildly romantic and would work on me. Okay, anyway, I pick up the gift and set it on the floor behind my desk. I try to release some of the tension I'm feeling, but it's really hard when everything about him makes me so tense. I came here to apologize to you, he says. I wave off his apology, letting him know it isn't necessary. It's fine. It was a misunderstanding. Ryle is fine. He laughs under his breath. That's not what I'm apologizing for, he said. I'd never apologize for defending you. Based. You weren't defending me, I say. There was nothing to defend. He tilts his head, giving me the same look that he gave me last night, the one that lets me know how disappointed in me he is. It stings deep in my gut. I clear my throat. Why are you apologizing then? He's quiet for a moment, contemplative. I wanted to apologize for saying that you sounded like your mother. That was hurtful, and I'm sorry. Apologizing for all the right reasons. I stand with him. Okay, anyway. I don't know why I always feel like crying when I'm around him, when I think about him, when I read about him. It's like my emotions are still tethered to him somehow and I can't figure out how to cut the strings. His eyes drop to my desk. He reaches forward and grabs three things: a pen, a sticky note, my phone. He writes something down on the sticky note and then proceeds to pull my phone apart. He slips the case off and pulls my phone apart. I was like, what the fuck? He's so strong. No, I'm just kidding. He slips the case off and puts the sticky note between the case and the phone and then slides the cover back over it. He pushes my phone back across the desk. I look down at it and then up at him. He stands up and tosses the pen on my desk. It's my cell phone number. Keep it hidden there in case you ever need it. I wince at the gesture, the unnecessary gesture. This is actually the hottest thing anybody could ever do for you in your situation. Gonna be really fucking honest. An alternative to calling the cops, because the cops wouldn't fucking do anything to you for you anyway. And he clearly is willing to throw hands. So this is leave your girlfriend, pretty please, Atlas. Pretty please. It's need a girlfriend. Exactly, I agree. I thought he was gonna start hitting her when we were having that conversation by the car. Like, the book was like, he takes the three steps that were separating us, and I was like, oh, he's gonna kill us. He's gonna pull out a knife or something. Like, he's scary. Atlas isn't. Choose Atlas, queen, please. I won't need it. I hope not. He walks to the door and reaches for the doorknob. And I know this is my only chance to get out what I have to say before he's out of my life forever. Atlas, wait. I stand up so fast my chair scoots across the room and bumps against the wall. He half turns and faces me. What Ryle said to you last night, I bring a nervous hand up to my neck. I can feel my heart beating in my throat. I never said that to him. He was hurt and upset, and he misconstrued my words from a long time ago. The corner of Atlas's mouth twitches, and I'm not sure if he's trying not to smile, or trying not to frown. He faces me straight on. Believe me, Lily, I know that wasn't a pity fuck. I was there. He walks out the door, and his words knock me straight back into my seat. Only my seat was no longer there. It's still on the other side of my office and I'm on the floor. That's really funny. Alyssa rushes in and I'm lying on my back behind my desk. Lily? She runs around the desk and stands over me. Are you okay? I hold up a thumb. Fine, just missed my chair. She reaches out her hand and helps me to my feet. What was that all about? I glance at the door as I retrieve my chair. I take a seat and look down at my phone. Nothing. He was just apologizing. Alyssa sighs longingly and looks back at the door. So does that mean he doesn't want the job? I've got to hand it to her. Even in the midst of emotional turmoil, she can make me laugh. I get back to work before I dock your pay. She laughs and makes to leave. I tap my pen against my desk and then say, Alyssa, wait. I know, she says, cutting me off. Ryle doesn't need to know about that visit. You don't have to tell me. Okay. I smile. Thank you. She closes the door. I reach down and pick up the bag with my 3-year-old gift inside of it. I pull it out and can easily tell it's a book wrapped in tissue paper. I tear the tissue paper away and fall against the back of my chair. There's a picture of Ellen DeGeneres on the front. The title is Seriously, I'm kidding. I laugh and then open the book, gasping quietly when I see it's autographed. I run my fingers over the words of the inscription. Lily, Atlas says, just keep swimming. Ellen DeGeneres. He got her an Ellen DeGeneres book signed from him to her. I think Ellen DeGeneres is kind of annoying and a bit corny and not particularly funny. But oh my god, that is so goddamn thoughtful and sweet. And would work on me. Like, are you are you kidding? And we're picking Ryle? And we're picking Ryle? You're crazy. I run my finger over her signature, then I drop the book on my desk, press my forehead against it, and fake cry against the cover. Yeah, okay, I agree. And honestly, if he ends up being the love interest, Ryle, because I still think, happy 905 everybody, I still think there's a possibility that he is the love interest. I know that sounds kind of batshit insane, but I can't, so in regards to the movie, it's like, I assume that they only like did any like marketing for her and then Ryle. Who is Justin Baldoni in the movie? Justin Baldoni character. It ends with S. Yeah, he's Ryle. He's fucking Ryle, dude. No way. That's crazy. Anyway, thank you for your happy 905s. They are appreciated as always. Maybe we'll watch the trailer. Sure, but that doesn't mean shit to me. Wow. Atlas is the first one listed in the cast list. Hold on. Ends with us cast. Okay, now he's not. He's the third one. Justin Baldoni kind of ugly. Just being honest. Yeah, he doesn't look very good. Alice isn't very good either. Neither are men I am attracted to, I'm afraid. Bad movie. Okay, anyway. Maybe we watch the trailer. Cause we're oh my god. 26 is the halfway point. We're not even halfway done yet. God damn, dude. This book is long. Okay, anyway, I really have to run an ad because I've kind of pushed it off a little bit to do my 905. So I will be right back. Everybody's tight during the ad. Okay, I'm back now, and I have changed my hat. It was falling off, and I couldn't get it untied, so I changed my hat. Okay. Anyway, chapter 17. Did I have my headphones on before? It feels very loud in here. Okay, anyways, alright. Or maybe it was just fucking quiet in here and now I'm talking and now it's loud. Okay, it's 7 before I get home. Ryle called an hour ago and said he wouldn't be coming over tonight. The confusher cackle, whatever that big word he used, was separation. That's fucking annoying. Please get it. Oh. Anyway, accidentally clicked a button on OBS. Not really sure what it did. Didn't seem to affect anything, so we're fine. Separation was a success, but he's staying at the hospital overnight to make sure there aren't complications. I walk in the door to my quiet apartment. I change into my quiet pajamas. I eat a quiet sandwich. That was annoying. Anyway, and then I lie down in my quiet bedroom and open my quiet new book, hoping it can quiet my emotions. Sure enough, 3 hours and the majority of a book later. Thank you, it is good to be back. All the emotions from the last several days begin to seep out of me. I place a bookmark on the page where I stopped reading and I close it. I stare at the book for a long time. I think about Ryle. I think about Alice. I think about how sometimes, no matter how convinced you are that your life will turn out a certain way, all that certainty can be washed away in a simple change in tide. I take the book Atlas bought me and put it in with all my journals. Then I pick up the one that's filled with memories of him and know to it's finally time to read the last entry I wrote. Then I can close the book for good. Dear Ellen, most of the time I'm thankful you don't know I exist and that I've never really mailed any of these things I write to you. But sometimes, especially tonight, I wish you did. I just need someone to talk to about everything I'm feeling. It's been 6 months since I've seen Atlas, and I honestly don't know where he is or how he's doing. So much has happened since the last letter I wrote to you. When Atlas moved to Boston, I thought it was the last time I'd see him for a while, but it wasn't. I saw him again after he left several weeks later. It was my 16th birthday, and when he showed up, it became the absolute best day of my life, and then the absolute worst. It had been exactly 42 days since Atlas left for Boston. I counted every day like it would help somehow. I was so depressed, Ellen. I still am. People say that teenagers don't know how to love like an adult. Part of me believes that, but I'm not an adult, so I'd have nothing to compare it to. But I do believe it's probably different. I'm sure there's more substance in the love that between two adults than there is between two teenagers. There's probably more maturity, more respect, more responsibility. But no matter how different the substance of a love might be at different ages in a person's life, I know that love still has to weigh the same. You feel that weight on your shoulders and in your stomach and in your heart no matter how old you are. And my feelings for Alice are very heavy. Every night I cry myself to sleep and I whisper, just keep swimming. But it gets really hard to swim when you feel like you're anchored in the water. Now that I think about it, I've probably been experiencing the stages of grief in a sense: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I was deep in the depression stage the night of my 16th birthday. My mother had tried to make the day a good one. She bought me gardening supplies, made my favorite cake, and the two of us went to dinner together. But by the time I had crawled into bed that night, I couldn't shake the sadness. I was crying when I heard the tap on my window. At first, I thought it had started raining, but then I heard his voice. I jumped up and ran to the window, my heart in hysterics. He was standing there in the dark, smiling at me. I raised the window and helped him inside, and he took me in his arms and held me there for so long while I cried. He smelled so good. I could tell when I hugged him that he'd put on some much needed weight in just the 6 weeks since I'd last seen him. He pulled back and wiped the tears off my cheeks. Why are you crying, Lily? I was embarrassed that I was crying. I cried a lot that month, probably more than any other month of my life. It was probably just the hormones of being a teenage girl mixed with the stress of how my father treated my mother, and then having to say goodbye to Atlas. I grabbed a shirt from the floor and dried my. That's very funny. Sorry, completely floored that she picked up a shirt to dry her eyes with. You've got a shirt right here, just like do this. If you're gonna use a shirt, you've got one on, you know? But anyway. And dried my eyes, and then we sat down on the bed. He pulled me against his chest and leaned against my headboard. What are you doing here? I asked him. It's your birthday, he said, and you're still my favorite person, and I've missed you. It was probably no later than 10 o'clock when he got there, but we talked so much I remember it was after midnight the time I looked at the clock. I can't even remember what all we talked about, but I do remember how I felt. He seemed so happy and there was a light in his eyes that I'd never seen there before, like he'd finally found his home. He said he wanted me to tell me something, and his voice grew serious. He readjusted me so that I was straddling his lap, because he wanted me to look him in the eyes when he told me. I was thinking maybe he would tell me I was thinking maybe he was about to tell me he had a girlfriend or that he was leaving even sooner for the military, but what he said next shocked me. He said that the first night he went to that old house, he wasn't there because he needed a place to stay. He was there to kill himself. Okay. My hands went up to my mouth because I had no idea things had gotten that bad for him. So bad that he didn't even want to live anymore. I hope you never know what it's like to feel that lonely, Lily, he said. He went on to tell me that the first night he was at that house, he was sitting in the living room floor with a razor blade to his wrist. Right when he was about to use it, my bedroom light went on. You were standing there like an angel, backlit by the light of heaven, he said. I couldn't take my eyes off of you. He watched me walk around my bedroom for a while, watched me lie on the bed and write in my journal, and he put down the razor blade because he said it'd been a month since life had given him any sort of feeling at all, and looking at me gave him a little bit of feeling, enough not to be numb enough to end things that night. Then a day or two later is when I took him the food and set it on his back porch. I guess you already know the rest of that story. You see, oh yeah, I don't. Oh, thank you. I guess. Oh, this book is so interesting. Don't you think? Well, anyway. You saved my life, Lily, he said to me, and you weren't even trying. He leaned forward and kissed that spot between my shoulder and my neck that he always kisses. I liked that he did it again. I don't like much about my body, but that spot on my collarbone has become my favorite part of me. He took my hands in his and told me he was leaving sooner than he planned for the military, but that he couldn't leave without telling me thank you. He told me he'd be gone for 4 years and that the last thing he wanted from me was to be a 16-year-old girl not living my life because of a boyfriend I never got to see or hear from. The next thing he said made his blue eyes teared up until they looked clear. He said, Lily, life is a funny thing. We only get so many years to live it, so we have to do everything we can to make sure those years are as full as they can be. We shouldn't. No. Wait, no, what? We shouldn't waste time on things that might happen someday, or maybe even never. I knew what he was saying, that he was leaving for the military and he didn't want me to hold on to him while he was gone. He wasn't really breaking up with me because we weren't ever really together. We'd just been two people who helped each other when we needed it and got our hearts fused together along the way. It was hard, being let go by someone who had never really grabbed hold of me completely in the first place. In all the time we've spent together, I think we both sort of knew this wasn't a forever thing. I'm not sure why, because I could easily love him that way. I think maybe under normal circumstances, if we were together like typical teenagers and he had an average life with a home, we could be that kind of couple. The kind who comes together so easily and never experiences a life where cruelty sometimes intercepts. I didn't even get to try I didn't even get I didn't even try to get him to change his mind that night. I feel like we have the kind of connection that even the fires of hell couldn't sever. I feel like he could go spend his time in the military and I'll spend my years being a teenager and then it will all fall back into place when the timing is right. It fucking could. No, I don't find this book interesting. You're also very much mad. Okay, you're right. My bad. My apologies. I'm going to make a promise to you, he said. When my life is good enough for you to be a part of it, I'll come find you. But I don't want you to wait around for me because that might never happen. I didn't like that promise because it meant one of two things. Either he thought he might never make it out of the military alive, LMAO, or he didn't think his life would ever be good enough for me. His life was already good enough for me, but I nodded my head and forced a smile. If you don't come back for me, I'll come for you, and it won't be pretty, Alice Corrigan. He laughed at my threat. Well, it won't be too hard to find me. You know exactly where I'll be. I smiled. Where everything is better. He smiled back. In Boston. And then he kissed me. Ellen, I know you're an adult and know all about what comes next, but I still don't feel comfortable telling you what happened over those next couple of hours. Let's say we both kissed a lot, we both laughed a lot, we both loved a lot, we both breathed a lot, and we both had to cover our mouths and be as quiet and as still as we could so we wouldn't get caught. When we were finished, he held me against him, skin to skin, hand to heart. He kissed me and looked straight in my eyes. I love you, Lily. Everything you are, I love you. I know those words get thrown around a lot, especially by teenagers, a lot of times prematurely and without much merit. But when he said them to me, I knew he wasn't saying it was like he was in love with me. It wasn't that kind of I love you. Imagine all the people you meet in your life. There are so many. They come in they come in like waves, trickling in and out with the tide. Some waves are much bigger and make more of an impact than others. Sometimes the waves bring with them things from the deep in the bottom of the sea, and they leave those things tossed on the shore. Imprints against the grains of sand that prove the waves had once been there, long after the tide recedes. That was what Atlas was telling me when he said, I love you. He was letting me know that I was the biggest wave he'd ever come across, and I brought so much with me that my impressions would always be there, even when the tide rolled out. After he said he loved me, he told me he had a birthday present for me. He pulled out a small brown bag. It isn't much, but it's all I could afford. I opened the bag and pulled out the best present I'd ever received. It was a magnet that said Boston on the top. At the bottom, in tiny letters, it said, Where everything is better. I told him I would keep it forever, and every time I look at it, I'll think of him. When I started out this letter, I said my 16th birthday was one of the best days of my life, because up until that second, it was. It was the next few minutes that weren't. Before Atlas had shown up that night, I wasn't expecting him, so I didn't think to lock my bedroom door. My father heard me in there talking to someone, and threw open my door and saw Atlas in bed with me. He was angrier than I'd ever seen him, and Atlas was at a disadvantage by not being prepared for what came next. I'll never forget that moment for as long as I live, being completely helpless as my father came down on him with a baseball bat. Jesus Christ! The sound of bones snapping was the only thing piercing through my screams. I still don't know who called the police. I'm sure it was my mother, but it's been 6 months and we still haven't talked about that night. By the time the police got to my bedroom and pulled my father off of him, I didn't even recognize Atlas. He was covered in so much blood. I was hysterical. Hysterical. Not only did they have to take Atlas away in an ambulance, they also had to call an ambulance for me because I couldn't breathe. It was the first and only panic attack, they don't take you away for a panic attack go off, I've ever had. No one would tell me where he was or if he was even okay. My father wasn't even arrested for what he'd done. Word got out that Atlas had been staying in that old house and that he had been homeless. My father became revered for his heroic act. What the fuck? No, his ass did not. Saving his little girl from the homeless boy who'd manipulated her into having sex with him. What? That is not real. No, it's not. What the fuck? Don't be stupid. Ugh, anyway. Ah, yes, attempted murder. Yeah, the heroic act of attempted murder. What the fuck? I'm so. Oh man, this book is so. It's perfect, really, if you think about it. Anyway, no. No one would tell me. Okay, blah blah blah. The heroic act. Save. Okay, my father said I'd shamed our whole family by giving the town something to gossip about, and let me tell you, they still gossip about it. I heard Katie on the bus today telling someone she tried to warn me about Atlas. She said she knew he was bad news from the moment she'd laid eyes on him, which is crap. If Atlas had been on the bus with me, I probably would have kept my mouth shut and been mature about it like he tried to teach me to be. Instead, I was so angry. I turned around and told Katie she could go to hell. I told her Atlas was a better human than she'd ever be, and if I ever heard her say one more bad thing about him, she'd regret it. She just rolled her eyes and said, Jesus, Lily, did he brainwash you? He was a dirty, thieving, homeless kid who was probably on drugs. He used you for food and sex, and now you're defending him? She's lucky the bus stopped at my house right then. I grabbed my backpack and walked off the bus, and then went inside and cried in my room for 3 hours straight. Now my head hurts. But I knew the only thing that would make me feel better is if I finally got it all out on paper. I've been avoiding writing this letter for 6 months now. No offense, Ellen, but my head still hurts. So does my heart. Maybe even more right now than it did yesterday. This letter didn't help one damn bit. I think I'm going to take a break from writing to you for a while. Writing it to you reminds me of him, and it all hurts too much. Until he comes back for me, I'm just going to keep pretending to be okay. I'll keep pretending to swim when really all I'm doing is floating, barely keeping my head above water. Lily. I flipped to the next page, but it's blank. That was the last time I ever wrote to Ellen. I also never heard from Atlas again, and that was a huge part of me never blamed him. He almost died at the hands of my father. There's not much room for forgiveness there. I knew he survived and that he was okay because my curiosity has sometimes gotten the best of me over the years, and I'd find what I could about him online. There wasn't much though. Enough to let me know he'd survived and that he was in the military. I still never got him out of my head though. Time made things better, but sometimes I would see something that would remind me of him and it would put me in a funk. It wasn't until I was in college for a couple of years and dating someone else that I realized maybe Atlas wasn't supposed to be my whole life. Maybe he was supposed to be a part of it. Maybe love isn't something that comes full circle. It just ebbs and flows, in and out, just like the people in our lives. On a particularly lonely night in college, I went alone to a tattoo studio and had a heart put in the spot where he used to kiss me. It's a tiny heart, about the size of a thumbprint, and it looks like just like the heart he carved for me out of the oak tree. It's not fully closed to the top, and I wonder if Atlas carved the heart like that on purpose, because that's how my heart feels every time I think about him. It's just it just feels like there's a little hole in it, letting out all the air. After college, I ended up moving to Boston. Not necessarily because I was hoping to find him, but because I had to see for myself if Boston really was better. Plethora held nothing for me anyway, and I wanted to get as far away from my father as I could. That's not particularly far, but okay. Even though he was sick and could no longer hurt my mother, he still somehow made me want to escape the entire state of Maine, so that's exactly what I did. Seeing Atlas in his restaurant for the first time filled me with so many emotions. I didn't know how to process them. I was glad to see that he was okay. I was happy that he looked healthy. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little heartbroken that he never tried to find me like he promised. I love him. I still do, and I always will. He was a huge wave that left a lot of imprints on my life, and I'll feel the weight of that love until I die. I've accepted that. But things are different now. After today, when he walked out of my office, I've thought long and hard about us. I think our lives are where they're supposed to be. I have Ryle. Atlas has his girlfriend. We both have the careers we'd always hoped for. Just because we didn't end up on the same wave doesn't mean we aren't still a part of the same ocean. Things with Ryle are still fairly new, but I feel that same depth with him that I used to feel with Atlas. How? He's kind of icky. He loves me just like Atlas did, and I know if I'm not so sure it's exactly the same. And I know if Atlas has a chance to get to know him, he would be able to see that and he'd be happy for me. Sometimes an unexpected wave comes along, sucks you up and refuses to spit you back up. Ryle is my unexpected tidal wave, and right now I'm skimming the beautiful surface. Oh, part 2. Okay. Did not realize there were parts. Was there any indication of this early on? Yes, there was. It's just been a bit. Nope, haven't read that. Have read that. There we go. Okay. Interesting. Part 2? Chapter 18. Okay. Chapter 18. Oh god, I think I might throw up. Ryle puts his thumb under my chin and tilts my face up to his. He grins at me. You'll be fine. Stop freaking out. I shake my hands out and bounce up and down inside the elevator. I can't help it, I say. Everything you and Alyssa have told me about your mother makes me so nervous. My eyes widen and I bring my hands up to my mouth. Oh god, Ryle, what if she asks me questions about Jesus? I don't go to church. I mean, I read the Bible when I was younger, but I don't know it. Answers to any Bible trivia questions. He is really laughing now. He pulls me to him and kisses the side of my head. She won't talk about Jesus. She already loves you, based on what I've told her. All you have to do is be you, Lily. I start nodding. Be me. Okay. I think I can pretend to be me for one evening, right? The doors open and he walks out of the elevator toward Alyssa's apartment. It's funny watching him knock, but I guess he technically doesn't live here anymore. Over the last few months, he just sort of slowly began staying with me. All of his clothes are at my apartment, his toiletries. Last week, he even hung that ridiculous, blurry photograph of me up in our bedroom, and it really felt official after that. Ew, that's fucking disgusting. Get rid of that shit, man. That's nasty. You've got the real thing now, so what are you doing? Ugh, yuck. Okay, anyway. Does she know we live together? I ask him. Is she okay with that? I mean, we aren't married. She goes to church every Sunday. Oh no, Ryle, what if your mother thinks I'm a blasphemous whore? Ryle nudges his head toward the apartment door, and I spin around to see his mother standing in the doorway, a layer of shock on her face. Mother, Ryle says, meet Lily, my blasphemous whore. Don't call me that. Ew. Mm. Oh, dear God. His mother reaches for me and pulls me in for a hug, and her laughter is everything I need to get me through this moment. Lily, she says, pushing me out to arm's length so she can get a good look at me. Sweetie, I don't think you're a blasphemous whore. You're the angel I've been praying would land in Ryle's lap for the last 10 years. She ushers us into the apartment. Ryle's father is the next to greet me with a hug. No, definitely not a blasphemous whore, he says. Not like Marshall here, who sank his teeth into my little girl when she was only 17. He glares back at Marshall, who is sitting on the couch. Marshall laughs. That's where you're wrong, Dr. Kincaid, because Alyssa was the one who sank her teeth into me first. My teeth were in another girl who tasted like Cheetos, and Marshall doubles over when Alyssa elbows him inside. And just like that, every single fear I had has vanished. They're perfect. They're normal. They say whore and laugh at Marshall's jokes. Because Marshall is fucking insufferable. Love that guy. I couldn't ask for anything better. 3 hours later, I'm lying on Alyssa's bed with her. Their parents went to bed early, claiming jet lag. Ryle and Marshall are in the living room watching sports. I have my hand on Alyssa's stomach, waiting to feel the baby kick. Her feet are right here, she says, moving my hand over a few inches. Give it a few seconds. She's really active tonight. We remain quiet while we both wait for her to kick. When it happens, I squeal with laughter. Oh my god, it's like an alien! Alyssa holds her hands on her stomach, smiling. These last 2.5 months are going to be hell, she says. I'm so ready to meet her. Me too, I can't wait to be an aunt. I can't wait for you and Ryle to have a baby, she says. I fall onto my back and put my hands behind my head. I don't know if he wants any. We've never really talked about it. It doesn't matter if he wants any. It doesn't matter if he doesn't want any, she says. He will. He didn't want a relationship before you. Okay, I don't think that's a really good way to think, but go off. He didn't want to get married before you, and I feel a proposal coming on any month now. Well, man, this is only part 2 of the book. We gotta slow down. I prop my head up on my hand and face her. We've barely been together 6 months. Pretty sure he wants to wait a lot longer than that. Okay. I don't push things with Ryle when it comes to speeding things up in our relationship. Our lives are perfect how they are. We're too busy for a wedding anyway, so I don't mind if he wants to wait a lot longer. 6 months is an average time to wait? For... Huh? Okay. I'm gonna sound fucking insane. How long is the average to date before marriage? Okay. It's normally a couple of years. I was like, 6 months and we're thinking about this. Jesus Christ. I miss that, Liz. I know, man. Me too. But, like, is he even gonna come back? Like, now that we've, like, ended it in a way? Like, sure, the phone number is probably still in her phone case, and I don't know. I feel like they could comfortably end that part of the book and not bring Atlas back. I don't know that they will, because then all the drama leaves, but it's possible. You never know. Anyway, what about you, Alyssa presses? Would you say yes if he proposed? I laugh. Are you kidding me? Of course, I'd marry him tonight. After 6 months. Jesus. You're insane. Alyssa looks over my shoulder at her bedroom door. She purses her lips together and tries to hide her smile. He's standing in the doorway, isn't he? She nods. He heard me say that, didn't he? She nods again. I roll onto my back and look at Ryle, propped up against the door frame with his arms folded over his chest. I can't tell what he's thinking after hearing that. His expression is tight. His jaw is tight. His eyes are narrowed in my direction. Lily, he says with stoic composure, I would marry the hell out of you. His words make me smile the most embarrassing, widest smile, so I pull a pillow over my face. Why, thank you, Ryle, I say, my words muffled by a pillow. That's really sweet, I hear Alyssa say. My brother is actually sweet. The pillow is pulled away from me and Ryle is standing over me, holding it at his side. Let's go. My heart begins to beat faster. Right now? He nods. I took the weekend off because my parents are in town. You have people who can run your store for you. Let's go to Vegas and get married. Alyssa sits up on the bed. You can't do that, she says. Lily's a girl. She wants a real wedding with flowers and bridesmaids and shit. Ryle looks back at me. Do you want a real wedding with flowers and bridesmaids and shit? I think about it for a second. No. The three of us are quiet for a moment, and Alyssa starts kicking her legs up and down on the bed and giddy with excitement. They're getting married, she yells. She rolls off the bed and rushes toward the living room. Marshall, pack our bags. We're going to Vegas. Ryle reaches down and grabs my hand, pulling me to a stand. He's smiling, but there's no way I'm doing this unless I know for sure he wants it. Wait, what the fuck? Are you sure about this, Ryle? Uh, um, you know that one fucking meme that's like, isn't there somebody you forgot to ask? I consent. And then it's, and then it's Lily, and then I consent, and then it's Ryle, and then it's, didn't you forget to ask somebody? And then it's me. Didn't you fucking did you fucking forget to ask me if I consented to this random, very abrupt marriage at the very beginning of part two? We're not even halfway through the goddamn book yet. We're close, but like we're not there. Slow down, man. I'm scared. He runs his hands through my hair and pulls my face to his, brushing his lips against mine. Naked truth, he whispers. I'm so excited to be your husband, I could piss my damn pants. You didn't even wanna. Oh yeah, like you didn't even want to date before. We didn't take this slow. What are we doing? I'm scared. I'm scared. He's gonna start beating her as soon as they get married or something crazy. I don't know. Ugh, I'm disgusted. Okay, anyway. Chapter 19. It's been 6 weeks, Mom. You've got to get over it. My mother sighs into the phone. You're my only daughter. I can't help it if I've been dreaming about your wedding my whole life. She still hasn't forgiven me, even though she was there. We called her right before Alyssa booked our flights. We forced her out of bed. We forced Ryle's parents out of bed. And then we forced them all on a midnight flight to Vegas. She didn't try to talk me out of it because I'm sure she could tell that Ryle and I had made up our minds by the time she made it to the airport. But she hasn't let me forget it. She's been dreaming of a. Alice comes in. So true. She's been dreaming of a huge wedding and dress shopping and cake tasting since the day I was born. I kick my feet up on the couch. How about I make it up to you, I say to her. What if, whenever we decide to have a baby, I promise to do it the natural way and not buy one in Vegas? Thanks. My mom laughs, then she sighs. As long as you give me grandchildren someday, I guess I can get over it. Ryle and I talked about kids on the flight to Vegas. I wanted to make sure that possibility was open for discussion in our future before I made the commitment to spend the rest of my life with him. Very interesting time to be doing that on the fucking flight to your wedding. I also think you can do an impromptu marriage not in Vegas. I don't know why you chose Vegas, honestly. There are other places. I'm not sure. Okay. Whatever. Whatever. It's fine. Before I made a commitment to spend the rest of my life with him. He said it was definitely open for discussion. Then we cleared the air about a lot of other things that might cause problems down the road. I told him I wanted to separate checking accounts, but since he makes more money than me, he has to buy me lots of presents all the time to keep me happy. He agreed. He made me promise him I'd never become vegan. That was a simple promise. I love cheese too much. I told him we had to start some kind of charity or at least donate to the ones Marshall and Alyssa like. He said he already does, and that made me want to marry him even sooner. He made me promise to vote. He said I was allowed to vote Democratic, Republican, or Independent as long as I made sure to vote. We shook on it. What an interesting thing to promise. Lily, my beautiful girlfriend, before we become man and wife, I need you to commit to doing your civic duty. I could never forgive myself if I married a woman who didn't vote. That's so fucking stupid. Okay. Anyway, whatever. I mean, I personally, I get the ick when someone doesn't vote. Like, I think that's kind of nasty. But what a weird thing to like agree on. Oh, whatever. I just feel like all this information is stuff you should have known and agreed on before you got married. And a salute to all nations, but mostly America. So true. But no, he wouldn't say that because he's evil. He would never be anything like Sam Eagle. Don't make me sad. Okay. Anyway, by the time we landed in Vegas, we were completely on the same page. I hear the front door unlocking, so I flip onto my back. Gotta go, I say to my mother. Ryle just got home. He closes the door behind him, and then I grin and say, "Wait, let me rephrase that, Mom. My husband just got home." My mother laughs and tells me goodbye. I hang up with her and toss my phone aside. I bring my arm above my head and rest it lazily against the arm of the couch. Then I prop my leg over the back of it, letting my skirt slide down my thighs and pull at my waist. Ryle drags his eyes up my body, grinning as he makes his way over to me. He drops his knees onto the couch and slowly crawls up my body. "How's my wife?" he whispers, planting kisses all over my mouth. He presses himself between my legs and I let my head fall back as he kisses down my neck. "This is the life. We both work almost every day. He works twice as many hours as I do, and he only gets home before I'm in bed 2 or 3 nights a week. But the nights we actually do get to spend together, I tend to want him to spend those nights buried deep inside me. Ugh. He doesn't. Okay, I'm cringing. I'm free to do that. I forgot. He doesn't complain. All right, they fuck. You get it. Okay. He took a shower at first, and as soon as he got out, I jumped in. I told him we needed to wash the smell of sex off of us before we had dinner with Alyssa and Marshall. Alyssa is due in a few weeks, so she's forcing as much couple time on us as she can. She's worried we'll stop coming to visit after the baby is born, which I know is ridiculous. The visits will just grow more frequent. So true, Notch. I already love my niece more than any of them anyway. Okay, maybe not, but it's close. Try to avoid getting my hair wet as I rinse off, because we're already running late. I grab my razor and press it to my arm when I hear a crash. I pause. Ryle? Nothing. I finish shaving and then wash the soap off. Another crash. What in the world is he doing? I turn off the water and grab a towel, running it over myself. Ryle? He's still. Goddamn, I love America. As you should. Flawless country, really. He still doesn't respond. I pull my jeans on in a hurry and open the door as I'm pulling my shirt over my head. Ryle? The nightstand by our bed is to. I love reading ahead. Okay. Anyway, the nightstand by our bed is tipped over. I move to the living room and see him sitting on the edge of the couch. His head is in one of his hands. He is looking down at something in his other hand. What are you doing? He looks up at me and I don't recognize his expression. I'm confused by what's happening. I don't know if he just got bad news. The Ellen book. No way. Okay. Or, oh God, Alyssa, Riley, you're scaring me. What's wrong? He holds up my phone and just looks at me like I should know what's happening. When I shake my head in confusion, he holds up a piece of paper. "Funny thing," he says, setting my phone on the coffee table in front of him. "I dropped your phone by accident." Cover pops off, and I find this hidden number in the back of it. Oh God, no, no, no. He crumples the number in his fist. I thought, that's weird. Lily doesn't hide things from me. He stands up and picks up my phone. So I called it. Oh God. Is Ryle dead? Oh, I, I wish! He's about to me. He's about. Okay. He tightens his fist around the phone. He's lucky I got his fucking voicemail. He chunks my phone. Okay. Clear across the room and it crashes against the wall, shattering to the floor. There's a 3-second pause where I think this could go one of two ways. He's going to leave me, or he's going to hurt me. He runs a hand through his hair and walks straight for the door. He leaves. "Ryle," I yell. Why did I never throw that number away? I open the door and run after him. He's taking the stairs 2 at a time, and I finally reach him when he's at the landing of the second floor. I shove myself in front of him and grab his shirt in my fists. "Ryle, please, let me explain." He grabs my wrists and pushes me away from him. "Be still." I feel his hands on me, gentle, steady. Tears are flowing, and for some reason they sting. "Lily, be still, please." His voice is soothing. No way. He fucking pushed her down the stairs. Cringe, but like. No, yeah, it's fucking cringe for a man to beat up a woman. That's cringe. It's more than cringe, but you get it. Cringe is all I have right now. That's fucking crazy. Atlas, I need you. I need you back here. Oh man, that's terrible. Okay, he pushed you down the stairs. It's fucking over. Okay, I feel his hands on me, gentle, steady. Tears are flowing and for some reason they sting. "Lily, be still, please." His voice is soothing. My head hurts. "Ryle?" I try to open my eyes, but the light is too bright. I can feel a sting at the corner of my eye and I wince. I try to sit up. He put it on his ways. It's not cringe. It's like wee. Exactly, exactly. But also, men, if if you care more about being cringe than being morally upright, it is cringe to beat your wife. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, anyway. I try to stand up, but I feel his hand pressed down on my shoulder. You have to be still until I'm finished, Lily. I open my eyes again and look up at the ceiling. It's our bedroom ceiling. Finished with what? My mouth hurts when I speak, so I bring my hand up and cover it. You fell down the stairs, he said. You're hurt. My eyes meet his. There's concern in them, but also hurt. Anger. He's feeling everything right now, and the only thing I feel is confused. I close my eyes and try to remember why he's angry, why he's hurt. When I was at school, I saw first year get dropped stairs, and that shit was funny as hell. That's terrible. Jill, you can't say shit like that. That's awful. My phone. Atlas's number. The stairwell. I grabbed his shirt. He pushed me away. You fell down the stairs. But I didn't fall. He pushed me. Again. That's twice. You pushed me, Ryle. I can feel my whole body start to shake with sobs. I have no idea how bad I'm hurt, but I don't even care. No physical pain could compare to what my heart is feeling in this moment. I start to slap at his hands, wanting him away from me. I feel him lift off the bed as I curl up into a ball. I wait for him to try and soothe it out like he did the last time he hurt me, but it never comes. I hear him walking around our bedroom. I don't know what he's doing. I'm still crying when he kneels down in front of me. You might have a concussion, he says matter of fact. You have a small cut on your lip. I just bandaged up the cut on your eye. You don't need stitches. His voice is cold. Does it hurt anywhere else? Your arms? Legs? He sounds just like a doctor and nothing like a husband. You pushed me, I say through tears. It's all I can think or say or see. You fell, he says calmly, about 5 minutes ago, right after I found out what a fucking liar I married. He places something on my pillow next to me. If you need anything, I'm sure you can call this number. I look at the crumpled up piece of paper by my head that holds Alice's phone number. Ryle, I sob. What is happening? I hear the front door slam. My whole world comes crashing down around me. Ryle, I whisper to no one. I cover my face with my hands and I cry harder than I've ever cried. I am destroyed. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to completely destroy a person. But domestic violence is not one. Just to clarify that I could what's happening on the marital staircase. Okay, thank you for clarifying, Trilla. I appreciate that. School violence, bullying, is fine for you. But domestic violence, that's where we draw the line. Okay, anyway, a few minutes pass. 10 maybe? Call the number, girl. He would never do this to you. I can't stop crying. I still haven't moved from the bed. I'm scared to look in the mirror. I'm just scared. I hear the front door open and slam shut again. Ryle appears in the doorway, and I have no idea if I'm supposed to hate him, or be terrified of him, or feel bad for him. How can I be feeling all three? He presses his forehead to our bedroom door, and I watch it as he hits his head against it, once, twice, 3 times. He turns and rushes at me, falling to his knees at the side of the bed. He grabs both my hands and squeezes them. Lily, he says, his whole face twisting in pain. Please tell me it's nothing. He brings his hand to the side of my head, and I can feel his hands shaking. I can't take this. I can't. He leans forward and presses his lips hard against my forehead, then rests his forehead against mine. Please tell me you aren't seeing him. Please. I'm not even sure I can tell him because I don't even want to speak. He stays pressed against me, his hand wrapped tightly in my hair. It hurts so much, Lily. I love you so much. I shake my head, wanting the truth out of me so he'll see what a huge mistake he just made. I forgot his number was even there, I say quietly. The day after the fight in the restaurant, he came to the store. You can ask Alyssa. He was only there for 5 minutes. He took my phone from me and he put his number inside of it because he didn't believe I was safe with you. I forgot it was there, Ryle. I've never even looked at it. He breathes out a shaky breath and begins nodding with relief. You swear, Lily? You swear on our marriage and our lives and on everything that you are that you haven't spoken to him since that day? He pulls back so he can look me in the eyes. I swear, Ryle. You overreacted before giving me the chance to explain, I say to him. Now get the fuck out of my apartment. Kids will be little asshole kids, but adults should know better. Okay, that's a good way of putting it. But me personally, I don't condone violence just in general. Yeah, well, I might have just get the fuck out of my apartment. Okay, sorry. I locked back in. My words knock the breath from him. I see it happen. His back meets the wall behind him and he stares at me silently, in shock. Lily, he whispers, you fell down the stairs. I can't tell if he is trying to convince me or himself. I calmly repeat myself, get out of my apartment. He remains frozen in place. I sit up on the bed. My hand immediately goes to the throbbing in my eye. He pushes himself up off the floor. When he takes a step forward, I scoot back on the bed. You're hurt, Lily. I'm not leaving you alone. I grab one of my pillows and throw it at him, like it could actually do damage. Get out! I yell. He catches the pillow. I grab the other one and stand up on the bed and start swinging it at him as I scream, get out! Get out! Get out! I toss the pillow on the floor after the front door slams shut. I run to the living room and deadbolt the door. I run back to my bedroom and fall onto my bed. The same bed I share with my husband. The same bed he makes love to me on. The same bed he lies me on when it's time for him to the same bed he lies me on when it's time for him to clean up his messes. We should hang out with Atlas instead. I always knew it to be true. Just saying. Okay, anyway. Chapter 20. I tried salvaging my phone before... Oh. Okay. We're going to be halfway done momentarily. Sweet. Okay. I tried Oh, wait. I probably shouldn't read this. I'm going for it. I'm fucking going for it. I don't give a fuck. Wow! Okay, I'm holding. We don't have time. Ah, you caught me. I'm going for it anyway. One more chapter. No, one more chapter. Okay. I'm gonna do one more chapter. No, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't see it until. No, man. I want to eat. Then go eat dinner. What's like? No, man. One more chapter. Come on. It's just a little chapter. Here. No, I want to. Can I read one more chapter for a Reese's egg to hold you off for before dinner? Come on, it's just a little chapter. You can always. Oh, if I have candy, I'll cry. No, I need to really then go get one. There's not a drop of water in there. I want to listen. I'll kill myself right now. You're so mean to me, man. Okay. There's probably a couple more slices of pizza in my pizza box upstairs. Can you have those and come like Lily did? No! Right. A what egg? A Reese's egg. It's just a candy thing. It was for Valentine's Day, so I don't know why they're egg shaped, but I just work here. But anyway, if you grab a couple slices of pizza, can you have those and I can keep reading my chapter? If you grab those fast, I'll wait for you. I'll fill up my water bottle. That's your pizza, man. I was gonna have chicken. Oh, you're so mean to me, man. I just want my chapter. Ugh. Fine. I should probably. What even happened here? Oh, I moved it. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, anyway. Should probably shower anyway. Whatever, just read a chapter. Okay, but you can't say you're tired of them when you want to stay and listen to more. I'm getting mixed signals here. Do you want to listen to it or not? It's starting to get like intense. You know what I mean? Like I'm excited. You have those, but they have like a cream fondant in them. Yeah, yeah, we've got those. That's my mistake. Um, yeah, Cadbury's eggs are weird, but they're like full. Like these eggs are like half for some reason. I'm not sure why. Reese's likes to drop some weird shit, you know? Like they've got the other kind of eggs that they do during Easter, which are shaped slightly differently, and there's also the trees and the pumpkins. So those are all those shapes, but they're like made slightly differently. Then they've got the cups. Then they've got the Reese's. We don't have Reese's eggs. America wins again. They actually have more than one Reese's eggs because they have those, and then they've got the full egg, like the Cadbury eggs. We have so many different kinds of candy, but you want to know what we don't have? This is some shit that I like to say all the goddamn time. So it's funny to me, but I don't think anybody else is gonna give it care about it at all. But you want to know what we don't have? We don't have mint flavored Musketeers bars anymore because they discontinued those back in 2007. But I still remember them rather vividly, considering it has been many, many years since 2007. But mint Musketeers bars used to be my favorite thing on the planet. They were so goddamn good and they're gone. Discontinued. Gone forever. Terrible. Anyway, yeah, I do remember this very well, and I do love to mention that they were discontinued in 2007. Mainly because I'm surprised that they were discontinued in 2007, because I feel like I wouldn't remember them at that age. You know what I mean? But I do. I do remember them. 2007. What a year. Okay, anyway. I won't read another chapter, but only because I should probably take a shower. You're so mean to me. Let me take a gander and see if there's anybody. What was that? Um, shut the fuck up. Nugget is on again. Pizza man, I gotta breathe. I mean, it was half of the pizza that we were sharing, so you're just taking more of the shared pizza. I offered it to you because I wanted to read another chapter. It's fine. If you don't want to take it, that's fine. Yeesh, I need to find more people to raid. Okay, that's fine. Okay, for the sake of raiding consistently, I will raid into Nugget. As he is the most convenient one at the moment. But I'm gonna be like, gotta raid and run. See you, man, because I really need to take a shower. Okay, and I also don't want to fucking be there. Sorry, Nugget. Sure, you're having a beautiful one. I just do not feel like watching whoever raid. It doesn't even matter who it is. I just don't want to raid, to be honest. But I'm doing it anyway because I'm a good streamer. Very moral. Maybe I will. It depends on how I feel though, but I want garlic parm chicken stuff like that. Alright, and if that's what you want and you're willing to make it, that's your prerogative. Dude, me too. I'm so pissed off that we're only reading it once a week. It's very upsetting for me. Once a week is far too long. Oh my god, also it's taking fucking forever. Like, we just hit 50%. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, we're 49%, I think. Um, Goodbye. I'll see everybody tomorrow with the schedule. Monday for Papa's Pizzeria. I'll be there from 7 to 10 like normal. My class is canceled for some reason. I'm sorry it's so back and forth. But it's canceled, so I will be here the whole time cuz I'm not there. So, sweet. Okay, I will raid into Nugget, see everybody there. Not for very long cuz I'm fucking leaving. Got to be out there. I love you.